Good Thanks, man. Good evening. We're live once again from TRCK. We're here for our flagship event, the Sprint Series. If you haven't seen our event before, it used to be called the Adult League. We've renamed it for this year. 2019's a big year. We've got some big names coming up for you. We'll talk all through there when we get back into the circuit. But PJ, it's something that we are going to be looking forward to today. It's a big race. What's your expectation with 20 drivers out there?
Well, having a look at the pedigree of drivers we have, it's going to be extremely exciting, this race. We've got last year's champion, he's back on the grid. We've got some actual racing drivers out on there as well. I don't mean just weekend karters, I mean actual racing drivers. Some European karting champions are out there as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm expecting some more fun like we had with the cadets and juniors earlier today.
I hope so. If we get any sort of racing that we did earlier, for those who missed it, there was some absolutely amazing races from such young drivers. You know, they're just starting their careers. If that's anything to go by earlier today, this race is going to be electrifying. Yeah,
big shout out to the Ahara boys for making our morning quite interesting. It was an early start for me in Reno. We normally start about an hour before now to get ready for the adult stream, but we've been here since 10 o'clock. So without further ado, we're going to hand back to the commentary box now. The driver's about to go out for their first 10-minute practice.
10-minute practice it is, yeah. We'll just quickly go through before we do. Everyone's getting a 10-minute practice. Then we're going to one-lap qualifying, just like we did this morning with the juniors, but there's going to be a 30-lap race, followed by another 30-lap race because the grid's got to be split into two, then another one-lap qualifying. So we're going to have that extra bit to add on there. More pressure for these adults, and then we're going to do the 30-lap races once again.
Fantastic. So the next time you see us, we'll be in the commentary box. In fact, you won't see us. It'll just be our lovely voices.
You'll just hear us, yeah.
I'll be doing some interviews in our special green screen room that we're in at the moment. You couldn't tell it's a green screen. I kind of let the magic go there. It's very CGI, Hollywood budget this time around. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and we'll see you in the commentary box.
Take care.
Well, that was, for my panting, you think it's quite a bit of a longer run, but it's only a short run from that interview room into the commentary box, but the carts are fired up just this moment in time, and the drivers will be allocated ready for their practice sessions. So the practice sessions are weighted, much like the races. So they're going to be weighted up to a minimum of 80 kilos. So we can see on that pit lane cam there, we've got one of our marshals, and so just behind him is Josh Knight, who was staple part of our staple part of our series last year.
Yeah, so this year going, it's going to be very, very interesting once again, and for sure, I'm expecting a lot more drivers to come through with this at the moment. You know, Josh is a superb driver. He's back, which is great, and then we've got the option of him hopefully being a championship contender this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go through it shortly, just which drivers going out in this practice session. But as we said in the kind of opening there, we've got some drivers here with a bit of a higher calibre than we're used to around here. Now, that's not saying that we don't appreciate our normal level of drivers, but what I am saying is it's going to be a really good mix between guys that really know this track, guys that really know racing, and then the guys who know are just coming into this. Is an amateur league after all, so it's a really great place to start. If you want to see how you compare against other drivers, this is a great place to start. Admittedly, we were sold out
a week ago.
Yeah, so there's only 20 places this year. So the first part of winning the race is to get your deposit in on time.
Yep. Unfortunately, a few people have missed out, but
there is still round two.
Yeah, there's always round two, round three. You know, get them deposits in as early as you can, guys. Just before we go live, Pete, we did a quick challenge called Challenge PJ. PJ asked a few questions. We're just going to go through the answers for you now. So if you did play along at home, here comes the answer. So the first question was, who is the reigning F1 World Champion? A, Vettel, B, Hamilton, C, Alonso.
I said Lewis Hamilton.
And that would be correct. So 1 point for everyone at home that got Lewis Hamilton. Question 2, who was the last driver to win the World Championship with the old V8 engines? A, Nico Rosberg, B, Lewis Hamilton, or C, Sebastian Vettel?
I said Sebastian Vettel.
And you get another point there, PJ. Well done. 2013 was the last time we used naturally aspirated V8s. Now,
Question 3. How many titles did Alain Prost win the World Championship with? A4, B5, C3?
Now, I said 3, but I'm starting to think, was it 4?
PJ, you'd be unfortunately not getting a point for that. It was 4.
Yeah.
Do you want me to name them for you?
Yes, please.
85, 86, 89 and 93.
Fantastic.
So, question 4. Who was the last drivers' champion for Williams? Was it Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill or Jacques Villeneuve?
No, I said Damon Hill.
You'd be wrong again, unfortunately.
Oh.
It was Jacques Villeneuve in 1997. Damon Hill was 96.
Ah,
so close.
It
so
was
close.
one or the other.
And the final question was a two-parter. When and where did the very first World Championship race take place? PJ, you put Silverstone 1951, or the British Grand Prix as it would have been known, 1951.
I did, yeah.
You get 1 point for Silverstone, but unfortunately it was 1950, not 1951.
Oh, come on. Out of all the years I could have picked, obviously, up to past the 70s would have been a bit silly, but 1950, I was so close with that.
So close. You know what, you're real close with all of them, you know.
Well, yeah, it's multiple choice.
Damon Hill instead of Jacques Villeneuve, 1 year apart, and then another 1 year. So you did all right. Better luck next time.
Yeah, I think this Challenge Page, or Challenge PJ, whatever we finally call it, we might have a little intro for that maybe next time.
Yeah, little jingle would be good as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting for you guys at home, because we're going to make sure we bring it out maybe midstream as well this time round, just when we're doing the call-out period before the finals and things like that. But nice new format for tonight. One lap qualifying is really going to add to the mix. So normally it's been a kind of a take the best lap time in a 10-minute session, and now it's not. It's you have one lap to make that lap count, and it's really really quite good, because it tests a lot of things from a driver. So you've got to be cool, calm and collected as you're heading around on this one lap. You haven't got additional chances to get it right. You know, you've got to make sure it's right.
No, one lap qualifying does bring a massive another challenge, like you were saying, PJ. Now, just for you guys at home watching, unfortunately we are just got a bit of a delay on the speed screens. That means we have no timing system as it stands. Well, we do, but the boys just can't see it. So we're just resetting that part of the system now for you, and that's why there was a bit of a delay getting going in this practice session. So Norby's just had to run off and sort it out. But in the meantime, the first group are just getting weighted up. We have cart numbers and everything for you. So PJ, we're going to just run through them then.
Yeah, so we've got a few new names in here and a few old names. So we'll start from the top. So in cart 39 will be Elliott, and that's Jonathan Elliott. Cart 43, Medlock, and that's Martin Medlock. Cart 44 is Smith, or Jay Smith, as he's known to his mother. Cart 50 is Preston, so it's Adam Preston. Last year's champion, Thomas Krogowski, is in cart 46. And then we are going through to Poigneur, Michael Poigneur, cart 45. Thomas Watson, or Watson as he'll be shown on the screens, is 47. And then a very good contender for this year's championship, someone we wish really well, Josh Nye there with cart 48. And then last two drivers in this session, we have
Sean Brierley, I believe
Sean Brierley. We'll get your names right by the end of the stream, I promise. And then another racer from last year's league who did quite well in the end. Started off on a little bit on the slow side, but you know, this is what we're doing. It's an amateur league. We don't expect everyone to be professionals on their first round. Not everyone's like me and you, Reno, are they?
I wouldn't go that far in saying we're professionals.
No, not now. We've got other drivers here that have actually raced for proper teams, and not just a TRCK karting team. Although that is a highly rated proper team.
You know, we've got a second place from Wilton Mill back last. When was that? It was about June last year, wasn't it? Something like that.
Plausibly. We haven't got a trophy, so I can't check the date on it. We weren't given a trophy for that. And I still think we would have had first place if that team had followed the correct
and done the right amount of pit stops. But you never know. We're not bitter. We're not bitter or anything.
No, I don't wish that I'd been a bit harder on the marshals when the guy wasn't pitting. But I was in the cart for the last stint, and to be fair, I was given the cart in a really good position. We finished in second. When I actually got out into the cart, I think I was in P1, but I think that's just because of the way the pits. Yeah,
it's how the pits were. I mean, Ben, bless him, he had an absolute storming stint, and if I remember rightly, he got us up into first. But like you said, the other team didn't pit correctly, and that's why they stayed in front. We thought we were going to win, but they never did pit in the end, did they? So. No,
and from what I remember as well, there's a couple of teams working together, nudging each other down the straight and kind of egging each other on a little bit, and we weren't part of that. We kind of were a bit of a standalone team. We weren't driving a Ford
nowhere
Fiesta
sort of thing. Yeah.
So we were a bit outsiders, but we both, we all know that track. Young Ben, big shout out to you wherever you are. I know that he's working for Nissan at the moment, but he's been around that track.
Very quick driver. Did British University's Kart Challenge, was it, or British Schools? One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two, or both, I think.
Probably both, actually. Yeah, he's about the right age for both, isn't he? So yeah. Yeah, no, he's a good driver, is Ben. And
both me and you, Reno, we've had trophies there from previous races.
Yeah, we knew what we were doing. It wasn't like we just came in.
Pretend to.
No, well, yeah, I'd like to think that, but yeah.
It certainly wasn't a club circuit for any of us guys growing up. I think we were all quite late into kart. Got into karting quite late in comparison to a lot of the other drivers, and certainly in comparison to a lot of the drivers there that are in there sitting in the karts ready to go. They're actually just having their weight systems adjusted. They've all been weighed, they've all been allocated their carts, and now our marshals are just going along, and they're actually just making sure that the weight system is matching up to what they've written down. So you can see the guys doing that. Now there has been some rain out on circuit. I might pop down to the pit lane actually and just have a chat with the first driver just to see how he's feeling for the start of this session. So let me just grab a word with him quickly. Right then. All right, mate. Right, how are you feeling for the practice session? Have you been out on this track much?
No, first time going round, so just got to learn the track in the next 10 minutes.
Excellent. I'm sure you'll be fine, mate. I'm sure you'll be fine. Right. Have you been on this track much at all?
Yeah, fair amount. Yeah, 5 or 6 times. Yeah, really looking forward to it. To be fair.
Excellent. Right. Well, I'll get out your way so we can get this practice session going on. But you can see they're all lined up there, looking kind of fresh in their nice new helmets. Some of them with their custom lids. We always kind of see it as a mark of quality when a racer has his own custom lid. I certainly don't have a custom lid just yet, but I'm sure I'll get there one day. So, do like us on Twitch, by the way, guys. We are live on Twitch at the moment. Do share our link through Facebook to your friends and family. Get in touch with us. You can comment on the post that we did, a little live video with a link to the Twitch live stream. You can comment on that and we'll read your comments out. Even comment on Twitch if you can. Do follow us on Twitch as well to make sure you keep up to date whenever we go live. So we're not just doing the live streams this year, we're going to do a few extra little bits in and around that. Now I can see the timing screens coming back online now. So as the timing screens come up, the drivers are heading out. So down into that first corner. Now it has been raining today and there is part of our circuit that suffers a little bit of water ingress, best way of putting it. And that's normally on the right hand side where the carts go down into that first corner. So drivers are going to have to watch out to make sure that that runs smooth. So watch them come through corkscrew now. They're all going to be quite close here as they go around in their practice session. Hopefully they'll spread out a little bit and hopefully aim to improve their time somewhat. But we'll see what happens. We've got the live feed and we've also got, new for this season, is a system where you guys can see the replays. So if you've got some tasty moves or some questionable crashes or whatever it might be, watch it down to that first corner chaos, and we'll be able to get those back to you on the live replays at the end of the session, just before I go and interview them in our room. Everything all right, Reno?
Yeah, we're just trying to get the speed screens back on for the guys who are in the circuit. I think it should still work for Martin in here.
Absolutely.
But we're just not sure. Yeah, so it is working in here. It's just for the boys on track. They're not seeing. They've got their own personal devices that will show them it. They can still run races. Just for the people who are up on the bridge and in the diner, they might not necessarily know what's going on, but Steve's on it. He's trying to work it. We've had a couple of issues with that particular computer that runs it, but it looks like it keeps coming back and forth, and we're not sure. But at the moment, everything's working okay. There was a spin down at turn 1 there. That was Josh Nye. So let's have a look then. Who is the quick? Josh is actually the quickest as it stands, but this is all changing every time. So we've got Martin who's just gone fastest. Let's see if there's any more changes. So 32.3 is the fastest at the moment. A little bit of change there. And Tom Kukowski's just gone up as well. So he's up into second on 32.4. Only 64 thousandths away. This is Josh now. So who are we following now? We've got a whole list of new drivers. So we just got to try and get used to what they wear and their gear, their individual personal helmets and stuff like that. So do bear with us. We're not sure who we're following as we go through the final corner. A lot of people wearing their own helmets and gear tonight, but Thomas is now the fastest on a 31.7. Martin Medlock now second. But Josh Nye just goes quicker again, 31.721. And you've got Tom, Medlock, Smith, Elliott, Watson, Kiddle, Brierley, Preston and Poyner. A couple of these didn't come to the test session, so it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. 10 minutes of practice for this, so we'll just see how the lap times go. No change at the moment from Thomas, he's just done a 32.1. Across the line goes Josh, in a lot of space, just a consistent 31.7. Just going to see who this is coming around the top corner now. Here we go. Let's just have a look. What kart numbers are they then? Let's have a look under the bridge. We got kart 50, 12 and 47. So kart 50 is Preston, 12 is Kiddle and 47 is Tom Watson. So we got them three. Behind them, kart 45 is Poyner. So they're in a little bit of a mix, but they're not really down the bottom. Oh, big slide from Poyner, I think that was. Under brake, and that's kart 45. Yeah, Michael Poyner just making a bit of a I wouldn't say a little mistake going into the first corner. 31.6 is now the two fastest laps between Nye, Thomas and Elliott. Elliott 31.7 by the way, and Medlock on a 31.7 as well. So let's have a look then. Cross the line they go. Couple more drivers. We are still following, I believe, Preston. Who's in front of them? Preston and Poyner. There's Josh Nye on your screen now, going through the first corner and into the chicane. Remember, this is just practice. This doesn't mean anything. The drivers might be looking for outright fastest lap because of the one-lap qualifying. They could be just practicing their racing, so that's why they're following closely behind someone. Practice really doesn't mean anything on this event today. But 31.4 by Martin Medlock. Struggling midweek when he came back down to test on a non-official test session. But your fastest ever lap round here was done by Bradley Philpott, who is in the next group. And he did a 30.6, so there's still time to find. And Josh has just gone quicker as well. And just as I say that, Thomas crosses the line and goes even quicker, 31.405. And Josh 31.484. Remember, everyone is weighted to 80 kilos. The gap between first and last in this group is 1.7 seconds. So that just shows how quick everyone is going. I'm just keeping my eye on the timing screens. We've got Josh, who's just done a 31.3. So we are just breaking up a little bit. There's a lot of people just giving themselves a bit of time. But Thomas has just gone even quicker, 31.324. The gap between him and Josh is 0.045. Alan Kiddle just crosses the line, along with Tom Watson. And then Josh is stuck behind. I believe that was Michael Poyner in kart. Oh no, am I right? No, kart 50. Who's in kart 50? That's Adam Preston. Coming down the main straight then, a couple more of the karts. Fastest time still 31.3 by Josh now, 31.303. And not sure where Thomas is on the circuit as it stands. That's Alan Kiddle going across the line now. Let's have a look, Martin. Where is Thomas? Just trying to look for him now. There he is. He's just coming into the final corner now. So let's watch Thomas. So Thomas is our reigning champion. He's just coming across the start-finish line now in kart 46. Crosses the line, does a 31.5, so he doesn't quite improve on that one. But yeah, so Thomas last year did around the year before, did quite well. I think he got on the podium during that event. And then, he came back last year, and it was a close fight between him and Richie. Richie isn't with us, but he was down here earlier today, so Richie, if you are watching, big shout out to yourself, my friend. He did have a close run-fought battle with him throughout the whole year. And unfortunately for Richie, he didn't come out on top. But massive congratulations to Thomas last year. Solid effort throughout the season. And it was a big win for him against some much more fancied opposition. The two Davies were here last year. Gary Ross as well, previous champion. A couple of drivers just letting each other go. They're starting to get clogged up a little bit, but we've only got 2.5 minutes remaining. and still Josh is the fastest driver on the circuit. So the running order at the moment. So we've got Josh Nye in first place. Then we've got Thomas Krakowski, Martin Medlock, Elliott, Brierley, Smith, Watson, Kiddle, Poyner and Preston. All separated by now just 1.5 seconds. So remember, a few of these haven't done the test. A few of them have. But the gap now is just 0.021 between the top two. And there is less than a quarter of a second between the top 5. That in qualifying is just how close it could be. So just under 2 minutes to go. As we go through the first corner, once again, we're watching kart 39. And 39 is Elliott. So not 100% sure which drivers are which out of the group that Bradley Philpott have brought down with him this evening. But there is they've got their own team, and for the life of me, I can't remember what their team name is. So there's a few of them, and they are one of the more professional drivers. There's European champions within their group. They regularly run in the British Series. It's nice to see them here, and thank you very much for coming down. But look at this, Thomas Krakowski, 31.205. Josh Nye, 31.245. So they swapped over, but only 40 thousandths of a second between them. And and that's Sean Brierley up into third as well. So he's found some speed from somewhere. We're just trying to, I can just see in the background on the speed screens, we're still trying to get them up for the customers' trackside. For whatever reason, they're not working. That's unfortunately where PJ is trying to sort it out now with the main man, Steve. So PJ will be back later on. We're just ironing out some more technical issues. But luckily, and fingers crossed, touch wood, all that, we're going all right at the moment. We've got everything we need. So the checker flag is out. We're just waiting for the last drivers to cross the line now. And I think the first car across the line with the checker flag was kart 12. So we'll see once everyone's crossed the line what our final times are. Across the line last will be kart 42, which is Sean Brierley. And across he goes. So your order then. Thomas Krakowski is fastest. He leaves he starts 2019 as he finished in 2018. Fastest of the group. Josh Nye only a 0.04 of a second behind. Sean Brierley in third. Medlock fourth. Elliott fifth. Smith in sixth. Watson seventh. Kiddle eighth. Poyner ninth. Preston 10th. 17 or 18 laps completed by the drivers. The gap between first and last in that session was only 1.6 seconds. We're going to go to a quick break and we'll be back shortly. Okay, welcome back. We've got a view of someone in the pit lane, their backside. Well, thank you very much. And that would be, I believe it's Ricky Cahill, actually. I can just see by the helmet from the pit. Get my words out again. Commentary box. Let's get him out of the way. Let's see if I can get him out of the way. Give us 2 seconds. Right, we'll get Ricky Cahill out the way, and hopefully, I've just instructed one of the marshals to do so. They need to be outside of pit lane. So we're just having a quick look at Norby and David setting up the next session. So PJ, what you've missed then? Not a lot, because Thomas has actually gone quickest and he's left off 2018 as he means to go on, really.
So Josh Knight there in second place, I can see as well.
Yeah,
so that's a good start.
A very good start. So let's have a quick look at the next group. So the next group then today, second practice session. Philpott. Bradley Philpott is a development driver. He does a lot of the Nürburgring 24 hours, etc., etc. Very experienced British rental karts driver. I think he's won it, has he? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure he'll correct us at some point.
Kart 39, Paul Harris. Now, he's the gentleman last year that was happy was just happy, wasn't he?
He was just genuinely happy, Paul. In testing, got down to a 30.9. I'm only whispering that because that is quick.
Yeah, that is quick. Yeah, that is very quick. So he's managed to improve on his form last year. And there's a gentleman, Phil Pryor, in kart 42. Not a name I recognise from last year.
No, he's a new driver, as is George Macy. I think he's come with the Philpott crew. Can you remember what their team name was, PJ? I was trying to remember it in that last practice session, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'd just go with Philpott boys, maybe, just as a bit
just
of a
for now,
cop-out.
just for now. Michael Ashkani, he's with the AA boys, as we call him here. He's a new driver as well.
I've seen him on the simulator. He can do quite well, so
let's
I've got
watch
high
out
hopes
for him. Dan Chambers, he was in testing. He did well as well. Ricky Cahill, a driver who's returning from the league last year. Him and Alan, they come down. I think they did pretty much every race, didn't they?
Yeah, and Ricky got some good results as well
Yeah.
amongst the way. Quite an improved driver over a series of years. He really took in the opportunity that he had, and he learnt a lot from that, which is what we kind of want you guys to do when you do come down here.
Definitely. And we've got Max Cox, 47. Guy Jolly, the V8 stock car driver. He was quick. He got a podium on his first attempt around here, so watch out for him as well. He wasn't at testing, unfortunately. He was at a meeting himself. And this is a lad that we've been trying to get down a long time. Ira Ellis Scott. He is quick. He's always been quick. His first time with the weight on, he did a 31.5. So let's watch out for Ira as well. The fastest time today has been a 31.2. Only driven once with weight. Let's keep an eye on Ira.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting to see how these guys pace themselves and certainly how they compare against the last guys as well. So we don't have the timing screens in circuit at the moment. I know the computer's just having some fiddling done to it. I was there just moments ago, so someone's continuing my good work with that. So the venue screens will be back up live soon, but we have still got the timing on our live stream, so that's where it really matters at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, for whatever reason, the computer that runs the system for in-house viewing via the restaurant and the trackside timing screen has gone, but it's all still running in the control room where it matters for you guys at home and for the boys who's running the session.
Absolutely. So I can just see here now that the marshals are making their way up 2 more or 3 more carts just to get sorted in terms of their weight restrictions. So every driver gets weighed. I think we said it before and we'll say it again many more times, I'm certain. They get weighed before they go on. We then adjust their digital weight box to allow for it. Now, some drivers are able to utilise the lead, like leaded seats or weight belts. I know Josh and I personally uses a weight belt. I know some of the drivers here, rather than using the digital weight system, they've actually brought their own weights with them, which makes it quite interesting to see what kind of difference it is between the virtual and the physical weight difference. But
well, I tell you, PJ, I'll interrupt you on that point because Bradley Philpott came down, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it was Tuesday. He actually came down to test that system. He believes it is very, very close as they're going now, but that was when Bradley Philpott then went and set a faster time with actual weight on. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I'd say the actual weight kind of, you get the advantage through that slippy chicane at the bottom end, I would imagine, because I was here Friday night with a friend of mine, and he's a little bit heavier than I am, but he was gaining on me through that chicane section. I was leaving him a little bit on the exit onto the main straight. So there's definitely, with the changes that have been done to circuit at the beginning of the year, not that much difference. I was lapping in the 30.8 area, and he was lapping in the 31 dead time area. So yeah, it makes it quite interesting in regards to that disadvantage that the heavier driver often feels that they have. So that isn't necessarily as apparent here. Doing it wrong, there's a few drivers over the 80 kilo weight limit, naturally. But to be fair, most drivers are getting a little bit of weight added to their carts. And we can watch, I think that's Philpott there, recognise the helmet as he heads down into the first corner. So what we'll do is we will head down into the first corner. We'll try and do some tracking shots just momentarily. We're just sorting out some audio issues here at the moment, but we can see some times going in at the moment. So Philpott is 31.907. No, he's just been beaten by Paul Harris with a 31.907. So that's Philpott there in second with a 31.919. Ellis Scott there, 32.362. Guy Jolly there in fourth place currently with a 32.997. And then rounding up the top 5 is Rajkani with 33.123. But that's all going to change. You know, Philpott's just jumped Harris now for an improvement down to 31.884. But we'll let see Harris cross the line in cut 39. Here he comes. Can he improve on his last lap time? He has improved on his last time,
Harris.
but not quite. No, enough to jump Philpott again. So Philpott's got some explaining to do when it comes to Paul Harris coming up and snatching that top spot from him. But at the end of the day, times in this practice session don't really count for anything.
Just like I was saying in the first practice, Peach, they don't really matter. Some people might be trying to race, some people might be going for fastest lap in order to get that one lap that works. Interestingly enough, Bradley will do a different first corner to everyone. That's something we noticed quite early on in his testing on Tuesday. So a little bit of contact there. I'm not sure who that is, but that was Paul Harris getting stuck behind him. That's kart number 43, which is George Macy. So he's in the Tony kart suit with the white helmet. Let's keep an eye on him because he'll be pretty quick, from what I gather, later on in the day.
So I wanted to see if we can catch Philpott wherever he is on the circuit, just to see how he is taking the...
Yeah, Philpott is just going up the bridge now and into the corkscrew. So here he comes. There he is. So see how the line is completely different in the corkscrew, and if you watch him through turn 1, he'll do it slightly different as well. He's just gone quickest, by the way, 31.5, so he's getting his time down. That's the final corner, and through the kink onto the main straight. He stays right over to that, as you're looking at the left-hand side, and just look at his line. It's completely different to anything else that the drivers have been, or even us as marshals. So it'll be interesting to see if that is actually the quicker way of doing it. But let's keep an eye out for all the other drivers that he's brought around. George Macy, Elliott, what was the other one? I can't remember his name. I'm going to feel really stupid now.
Don't worry about it. I spoke to a couple of guys before they went out for their practice session, and one of them hadn't even been out on the circuit before. So that's going to be quite a steep learning curve for that driver, as we can see a few of the old names are up in the top 5 there, along with Cox and Philpott being the newer drivers. And the lap times are relatively close actually between the top 4. So the top 4 are all separated by only half a second as they head round. I know those lap times have been updated as they come across the line now. Let's have a look here. So lap times, so Philpott's the 31.508, followed quite closely by
changed. Ellis Scott has just gone up into second, and Philpott's just gone even quicker, 31.489. He's still a couple of tenths off what Thomas and Josh were doing. But obviously give him time, there's still 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely. So see those times on your screens, some drivers moving around. I'm expecting to see probably quite low 31s in the one lap qualifying situation if people really get tuned in to what's going on around them.
We've seen get a cough out there, Pete. We've seen him testing a couple of sub 31 seconds, and Philpott just doing a 31.1. He's in a lot of space actually, coming up to the back of kart 50 now, which is Ellis Scott, who is the next quickest driver, half a second PJ behind. So it's going to be interesting. 31.1 now, the quickest lap time by Bradley Philpott. We're just watching a group with George Macy. Kart 45 was Dan Chambers, Ricky Cahill and Paul Harris actually, as they coming through into the corkscrew now.
Well, Paul Harris has just set the fastest time for himself with a 31.575, so that's pushed him ahead of Ellis Scott. Still not quite in the same realm as Philpott, but
and I noticed Guy Jolly's done the same. He's jumped up to 4th as well, so let's keep an eye on him.
A lot of these drivers have been down for a few practice sessions beforehand, especially Philpott. You know, he's been here quite a lot. In fact, he's probably been here more than I have in the last couple of weeks. So we are expecting good things from him out there on circuit. He did take the opportunity earlier to take a track walk. I don't know if that's worth 4/10 of a second, but you know,
he's definitely doing something right, isn't he? He's at the back now of kart 50, Ellis Scott, and he's going to come into some traffic as well. Which was a group where I believe, it was, oh no, it's a different group, isn't it? Yeah, because they're going down the main straight now. So who we got then? We got kart 45, which is Dan Chambers. Yeah, Dan Chambers, kart 42, which is Pryor. Then we've got Rajkani. Then Ira Ellis Scott, who's just gone through, and Philpott's followed in behind. So in a bit of a train now.
Excellent, we've got timing screens back up now, so the hard work has been done.
Fantastic.
So that's great.
Well done, everyone.
No problem at all. Big shout out to Steve, who I know is finishing up the good work. I kind of got it to do something, and he's done the hard work, so that's good. Lap times now, so Philpott's getting a bit of traffic, so his last lap time was only a 32.031 in comparison to his 31.153, so he might be trying to assess the other drivers out on circuit at the moment.
A bit of bump in there, though, through turn 1 between the whole group of them, actually. It was Pryor, Chambers, Philpott, I don't think was bumping, but I think it was the one behind Ira who was bumping as well. But Philpott's got through, and obviously watch out for Raj Carney as well, who's behind him. But we've got just under 3 minutes to go. The gap is still 0.4 of a second between Philpott and Harris, and Ellis Scott for that matter. The gap, though, between this whole group is only 1.3 seconds, where it was 1.5 on the last group. We've still got time to change that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rajkani there at the back with the best lap time at 32.4 compared to the 31.15. So if you take Philpott's time out of the mix, there's actually only 0.9 of a second separating the
whole of them.
The grid.
And this is going to be massive for one lap qualifying as well. Who can nail it on one lap qualifying in terms of that? Because obviously, like we said before, it's all about the pressure. And this is obviously, you've got time to get into a rhythm. One lap qualifying, you don't have that pleasure.
No, absolutely not. And one mistake in a whole session you can kind of hide it with a load of consistent laps after it. But in one lap qualifying, that is really important. That one lap. So just a thumbs up there to Steve to tell him that the screens are working. And just as these guys enter their final 2 minutes, we see a few of them getting a bit close there on track, with Philpott just sneaking out through and into that final corner.
Yeah, there was Philpott,
Ellis
15. Scott and Dan Chambers.
Yeah, Ellis Scott's got something to prove here. I think he's like Reno said earlier, he's a very, very quick driver, so to see him out on circuit against the likes of Philpott is quite interesting. Although Cox has just managed to put in a fast lap time and brought him up to third place, so it's pushed Ellis Scott down a little bit, but it's still not been able to get that close to Paul Harris, whose last lap time was a 35.93, but his best is a 31.575.
Yeah, PJ, it's going to be interesting. We've got just over a minute to go. I genuinely don't know who's going to be on pole for this next session. Normally we can sort of tell by testing. Last year we could definitely tell, and a bit of a clout on the first corner there from kart 45. That's Dan Chambers. He's getting a good mention at the moment. But yeah, normally we can tell. We'll put money on him to be on pole. We'll put money on him to be on pole. But between me and you, Peach, I'm scared to make that prediction. Before going into this, I would have said Josh Nye. But look at Thomas. Look at Philpott. They're both quicker than him now.
Well, this is it. We've got 20 drivers going out for one lap's worth of qualifying, and just having a look at the times there.
Philpott's just done a 31 dead and a yellow flag down at turn 1. I'm trying to see who that is.
That's going to really halt the progression of other drivers now. As they cross the line, they'll be entering a yellow flag zone. That yellow flag still hasn't been cleared for these drivers.
Checker flags out as well, so it's an automatic yellow zone. I think that was Max Cox. I think it was kart 47. No, it was kart 42. So that would be Pryor, yeah.
So yeah, if that yellow flag comes out, it's kind of ruined the performance of anyone trying to improve on that. So those times are set there. But these times mean absolutely nothing. I know we spoke about the times a lot in the last 5 minutes or so, but generally speaking, these times mean nothing. But you can see from second place Harris with 31.575. You can go all the way back down to just before Mike Vajikani, down to Chambers, and he's got 31.892. So 3/10 separate 8 drivers of the 10-driver grid.
Well, even a sub-second, 0.8 of a second between Philpott and Chambers, and it wasn't until right at the end there that Chambers actually dropped a few places. So it shows just how quick the pace is tonight, and it's going to be interesting, Peter. It really is for this one-lap qualifying, to see exactly how they're going to do it. What strategy people take on the warm-up lap is going to be critical to their first lap.
No, absolutely, and because we're going to be sending these guys out kind of one lap at a time, there'll be 3 drivers out on the circuit, one on a fast lap, one on an in lap, and one on an out lap. Now, if it all goes smoothly and all goes well, those drivers will never meet each other on the circuit. They'll be in and out, absolutely fine, no problem at all. But it's the drivers. There's 20 drivers out there now. If you go for the kind of the basic thought pattern when it comes to karting and racing and things like that, you want to be out there last because the track's got the most temperature in it, the most rubber's laid down. But in this instance, I think it's going to be more down to the variable in relation to the driver, not when they go out on track that's going to make a difference.
I think that's going to be the biggest difference. Obviously, everyone's just pushing that little bit more where the potential for mistakes is going to happen, and I think it's going to be down to that rather than track conditions tonight that makes the difference.
Well, there is a driver out there, Pryor, who only managed 17 laps in comparison to Philpott on 19, and a lot of the drivers out there on the 18 laps. So that will just be variances of where they are on the circuit when the checkered flag comes out, and someone might be able to squeak.
Pryor was in the barrier as well, so that's probably why he didn't get a chance to complete lap 18.
It does kind of help going around the circuit, doesn't it, rather than being stuck in the barrier. So we'll see what happens. But you can see on the screens here, Norby's having a look at his mobile marshal device to see who's getting lined up for this session first. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to be kind of following each driver as they go around to kind of watch exactly what happens and keep track. But from my understanding, it's going to be Paul Harris that goes out first in kart 46, and then Guy Jolly in 43, Ricky Cahill in 42, and then Philpott in kart 39, followed by Jay Smith in kart 12. So that's the first 5 drivers that are out there. Now, out of those first 5 drivers, 3 raced in the league last year. 1 is the professional racing driver, and Jay Smith, history unknown at this moment in time. We'll try and grab
100% what Jay's history is at the moment, but I'm sure we'll find it out as the season goes on.
And it's going to be interesting because then we've got in the next group we've got Tom Kukowski,
Sean Byerly, Max Cox, and Ira's out there as well. Is he? Oh no, that was Jonathan Elliott, and then Michael Ashkani for the middle 5. And then we've got the next lot going out as well. But Michael Poyner, Dan Chambers, Thomas Watson, Adam Preston, Alan Kiddle. Josh Nye, interestingly enough, is near the back. So
he is, yeah. So that's going to mix things up a little bit for us because a lot of the guys are going to be setting their times then, and we're still yet to see from Josh Nye. So the first 5 guys that go out are going to really much set the benchmark there. But then it's Josh Nye kind of being 15th out for his qualifying lap. He may be able to mix that grid up a little bit. But it's going to be really interesting to see how close these drivers are after that one lap qualifying session. So just before we get going on the one qualifying session, it's always good to let you guys know that the Race Club Diner is open Wednesday through till Sunday, and they're up there at the moment. We've got a few nice new items on the list. So we've got some barbecue chicken wings that I'm looking forward to later, some nachos, chili con carne, guacamole on there, the whole works. I'm getting everyone hungry in the box at the moment because it's they sound absolutely delicious. So if you're coming down to the venue to support a loved one in their racing this year, you can come and stand out in the cold. You get the benefit of not having to listen to my voice, or you can go sit in the diner and you've got lovely teas, coffees, fully licensed bar in there. Sit in the warm, listen and watch what's going on the
pizza,
stream.
Have a burger, have nachos, have wings.
Oh, the whole lot. You can have all of those. So that is the Race Club Diner, and you can order things for takeaway as well. So if you're on your way home and you fancy a pizza, it's 2 for £15 today. I'm sure we're going to be doing some other deals as well.
Yeah, and you get chips with that, PJ? You do get chips with that?
Excellent. You can't skimp on the fries. They are good fries, I can tell you that. Guaranteed PJ seal of approval on the fries. But you can order those for takeaway, can't you?
You can, certainly, PJ. You definitely can. And we don't deliver, but you can go pick them up. It's not a problem.
Well, we can deliver them to you at the front door of the venue if you wish.
We'll save your legs up the stairs, I suppose.
Until we get one of our go-karts registered as a road legal vehicle, I don't think we'll be doing deliveries. But as soon as we can, you get a number plate on one of our go-karts. I'm sure you'll see someone whipping around with the best pizzas in town. So
I'm sure you will. With a little delivery box on the back.
Absolutely. I don't know what kind of condition your pizza might arrive in, because I know how some of the marshals drive here.
It depends who's taking. I think if it's Norby, it won't be much of a pizza left. If it's
it'd be warm though.
It would be warm, but it would be a bit mushy. If it was little David's, for example, he'll probably be stuck at turn 1.
Absolutely, he probably wouldn't get out of the car park. So that's obviously
little inside joke there, guys. David's his nickname on System's first corner yellow because he always spins at turn 1.
Absolutely, we can guarantee on him causing a little bit of chaos in that first corner. And so The drivers are just having their weights set now, so although they're going out individually, we get the weights set before they go out, because it's really important that there's a kind of a smooth running of this session, so the first driver will go out. Once he's started his fast lap, we're sending the second driver out to do his his out lap, apologies. And then once that second driver starts his fast lap, the first driver is going to be on his in lap, and at that point we also send out the third driver to do his out lap. It sounds quite complicated.
It sounds quite complicated, but when you actually do it, it's very, very simple. You do one out lap when the marshal tells you, you cross the start-finish line, you do your fast lap, you cross the start-finish line again, there'll be a pit-in board from the marshal to tell you to come in. That is your in-lap, and come into the pits at the end of that lap. If you do go past it, unfortunately, your time gets wiped and you will start at the back of the grid.
And that's not just us being mean, it's because you could, if you're out there and you've not pitted in when you're meant to, it could actually affect the lap time of someone else out on circuit. Now, we'll obviously do everything we can to control any situations like that. So the drivers will be getting a pit-in board, so they'll know when it's their in-lap. Our marshal's going to have to keep on it really well to make sure that we're bringing in the right drivers at the right time. And any driver, that accidentally pits in before they've finished their fast lap, their time doesn't count because they haven't crossed the line. So, because the pit entry is before the start-finish line,
Here
as it is
we go,
with most
PJ.
circuits.
So the first driver out is Paul Harris. He's just, as you can see, well, you can actually see Norby in pit lane at the moment, but he is just warming his tyres up. He's got to remember to walk that brake as well. He's just coming into the corkscrew. Here he is. Let's see what he can do then. Paul Harris did a 30.9 in testing. He was pretty quick just earlier. Top 3, I think it was. I can't remember now. But here we go. He's going to start his flying lap. We did this with the juniors earlier. It was a fantastic event. Let's see if the adults can mirror that.
Excellent. So he makes his way down to the first corner. He's hitting nice and wide, hits the braking point, and he's managed to keep that tidy through the chicane quite well there as he comes up over Damon Hill and up onto the where the corkscrew is. Now let's watch him as he goes down into the corkscrew. How well can he do this corner? That's quite good.
That's quite good. His exit's not too bad either. Back under the bridge. Now let's see what his exit's like here. He's a little bit hoppy, but nothing major. Final corner. Good exit. Is always click the barrier. That's a mistake. Let's see what he does. Yeah, he's acknowledged that. Crossed the line, and what time did he get there? So 32.0. Is that a quick time? We don't know yet. But coming across now is Guy Jolly.
So he'll be starting his fast lap now. So let's watch him as he goes. He's a V8 stock car driver, I believe. So down to the first corner, no trouble there. He's run a little bit wide for my liking. I certainly take a tighter line through there, but I'm not a stock car driver, so what do I know?
Let's have a look and see what he can do as he comes into the corkscrew. Let's see if it's nice and tidy on the brakes. I can hear him. It's right. Very wide. Ooh, getting very, very, very out of shape on the corkscrew. Under the bridge bit now on entry. He's hindered him. He's hit the barrier on exit, and into the final corner he goes. And let's see if he misses the barrier, but it's not the greatest exit across the line. And he's done a 32.06. 16 thousandths of a second the difference, but Harris still on pole. Who's next?
So our next driver up on the list will be
it's Ricky Cahill.
It is. So Ricky Cahill's now starting his lap and he's making his way down to the first corner. Now, braking a little bit earlier by the sounds of it than most drivers, but he is hitting that apex a little bit closer than other drivers as well.
It will matter all about your smoothness through there. So Cahill doing quite well. Let's see his corkscrew comes through. Very tidy.
Very tidy, yeah, keeps it quite close to that inside barrier, which is interesting. Most drivers let the car fling out because they carry a bit too much speed in, but that was a lovely tidy entry. Nice braking into the last corner. Didn't hit the barrier
as well. Let's have a look. This will be a quick one. Cross the line. And, well, I tell you what, that didn't look that slow. 32.503. Interesting, Peach. Interesting.
Yeah, well, I say he was quite clean through the chicane. So now, this is the one we all want to watch.
Bradley Philpott. Coming into the first corner now.
Nice and wide.
Look at the difference in line. Very narrow. Hooks that inside line though. Through the chicane he goes. Little dab on the brake there. I saw the lights. Up Damon Hill and into the corkscrew.
Yeah, that was interesting. You can watch the brake lights there to see where he's tapping on the brake.
Much narrower as well. Now this is what he was doing in testing. So what we normally know, PJ, could be completely different. And throw it out of the book. Into the final corner he comes. Let's see what he can do.
Well, he certainly lapped quicker than me.
Looked tidy. Cross the line, gets his head down, and he does Go fastest, 31.392.
That's quite considerably
That is
faster.
good.
That was a very tidy looking lap from here. And we do generally say that the slower it looks, the faster they are as they go around circuit. So the next driver out there was Jay Smith.
Across the line he comes.
So through he comes. There we go. Smith is going. So a little bit of a different line to Philpott there, but generally not too bad.
Yeah, through the chicane. It's nice and easy. No break. Must have been just a lift up Damon Hill and across the bridge. Down into the corkscrew. Looks tidy enough to me, PJ. Under the bridge he comes. Let's see his braking. Look good. Little bit sideways, a bit early, but he got good exit, so I think he's counteracted that. Into the final corner. Wide entry, but a good exit again.
Yeah, really good exit.
Let's have a look at Jay Smith across the line. Goes second, 31.6. Good effort.
31.6. For a moment there, the screens looked like he was about to pop him at the top. So, yeah, that's a really, really good lap time. Now, our next driver that's out there is Thomas Kokowski, last year's champion. So,
reigning champion. Let's see what he can do.
So here we go. Down into the first corner he goes.
And he does a very similar line to Philpott.
He does indeed.
That's interesting. Maybe we've got it completely wrong. A little dab on the brake as well, just like Philpott. Let's see what he can do. He's been watching him. He was racing with him up at BRKC earlier in the year. Narrow line as well, but not a good exit. It looked like he scrubbed a lot of speed off.
He did indeed. Throughout the exit here, he's ran quite close to the barrier, but that's normal procedure for there. A little bit of slide over speed on the apex of the corner there, so it might have sacrificed him a little bit down the straight, but let's see where that puts him.
Third, 31.7. 31.7.
Okay, so
and up next is Sean Briley. Let's watch Sean, because we haven't really been able to watch Sean. He does the same line as Philpott, doesn't let it run wide. And down into the first corner, here he comes. And let's have a quick look.
Yeah, so another little touch of brake there. I think, to be fair, he's lost a little bit of time for the chicane because there's a lot of oversteer in the go-kart there, which he's kind of having to catch, rather than it being the opposite, where you just get the right amount of oversteer, which gets the kart to rotate into the corner quite well. So, nice and tidy through there. You can hear the kart hotching as it comes through there. A little squeak of the tyres as it goes through, and then through the final corner. Relatively tight, keeps it really narrow next to the pit wall. And where's that put him then? So he's crossed the line, and he is put himself in fourth with 31.8.
So next out then, Max Cox. Where is Max?
Kart 44. So
is he? He's. I think
that will be the first break of the session. So we're going to get all the drivers lined up, I would believe. So the drivers now that have gone out and completed their laps, they are not qualifying again. That's the only lap they've got. So we can see there that there's quite a good mix of times. There seems to be a kind of a bit of a grouping actually going on. So we've got some guys down in the 31, between 31.6 and 32 seconds. Philpott there, obviously, with a 31.392. And then I say the Harris and the Jollies, they're down on the 32 flats as well. Yeah,
so this is Max's fastest time. He's always missed the apex completely, Max. He's overcooked it into the first corner. Through the chicane he goes and up over the bridge. Down into the corkscrew. Let's see what he can do. Let's try and keep it tidy, Max.
A bit too fast.
Yeah, well, a bit of a jump, so that normally means it's a good lap.
To be fair, that looked like he got around there pretty damn fast.
A little bit too wide on exit through under the bridge, I believe. Into the final corner, massively slow on the exit there. He's ruined that lap, I think. Cross the line he goes. Probably told me wrong. Yeah, he's down in 8th of 32.9, so he's lost a lot of time there. And I'd expect to be in that first race, which is the bottom 10 drivers.
So the next kart across the line is Elliott, starting his flying lap, kart 47. So watching going down to first corner, nice and wide. A medium-ish line through that. Ran a little bit wide, and then he wasn't quite on the apex of the first part of the chicane. So that's compromised him a little bit. He's probably lost a few tenths just on that one section alone. Now let's watch him as he goes around the corkscrew.
Oh, that's tight.
Very tight line. That's
good. It did look good though, Peach. It did look good.
It did. I might name that the Bradley line because it's quite tight, and it's the first one that we've seen. First driver I've seen kind of run that tight to that barrier. So it's interesting.
Stays off the barrier as well. It looked like he was going to go wide. Across the line he goes, and Elliott goes 5th, 31.959. A couple of untidy parts in that for Jonathan Elliott. One of the Philpott crew, I believe, PJ. So.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because Thomas Kokowski's still up there in that top 5 mix, whereas a lot of the other drivers, Harris, have now been pushed down to 6th and Jolly. So our next driver out there,
Michael Rajkani.
Right, he's run quite wide on the entry, but he managed to clean it up by the apex of the corner. He's nice and tidy through the chicane, and as we go up through Damon Hill. that's all looking quite tasty. Now let's see how he handles the corkscrew. Is he going to take that famous narrow line?
No.
Oh,
little, but so much overspeed through there, PJ. I don't think this is going to be the lap to take pole.
No, I think it'll probably be mid-32s at this rate, maybe late 32s, depending on how he gets this. A little bit slow through there.
A little bit slidey on exit as well. He's lost a bit of time down the straight across the line. And unfortunately, he goes ahead of Max.
That's 32.8.
32.8.
I wasn't mad with 32.9, was I, on that guess?
No,
I mean, not a guess. I could work it out because I'm that amazing. So the next driver out there is Poigneur.
Yeah, so Norby's just held off a little bit. I'm not too sure why, but he has held him off a little bit. So kart 46 will be Michael Poigneur on the next lap. So we're just waiting for him to come around. I think we've just picked him up. He's onto the corkscrew now. So this is actually his warm-up lap. Not sure why Norby decided to hold him a bit more. Maybe he's just trying to make sure everyone's in the right cart. So as they come into the final corner and round into along the straight, let's see what Michael Poigneur can do.
So there he starts his fast lap, and it's down to a medium entry.
Yeah, he braked very early, PJ.
Did.
Nowhere near as late as most of the drivers. Could be a different way of doing it. Let's have a look at his time overall, though. When he comes round, through the corkscrew he comes. Well, I've seen faster, I'm not going to lie. But it was tidy, so we're not going to write him off just yet.
No, and it was a good exit from under the tunnel there as well, and we didn't see it on the screens, but he ran quite wide there through the final corner, so that's gonna make him suffer a little bit. And I can't quite see on our timing screens.
I think he's dropped off the top 10 there, PJ.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, yeah, 11th, 33.1, so he's not quite there. There you go. He comes up a little bit late. Cross the line to start their next flying lap.
It's going to be Chambers in kart 43.
Yep, kart 43, Chambers. So he's going through the chicane now, up Damon Hill, and down into the corkscrew.
Yeah, so you notice a lot of the drivers actually don't appear to be kind of putting much temperature into the tyres for this. One advantage, I suppose, of having two sessions doing one lap qualifying is the kart comes in. If you're in the second session, the kart comes in with warm tyres.
Oh, he's gone very wide there. Sorry to interrupt, PJ. But Dan Chambers, he goes to the narrow line on the exit, and he goes 9th on a 32.812.
Excellent. So the next driver out on circuit will be, I'm sure we'll see it momentarily as they cross the line and start their lap.
He's in kart 42. Crosses the line he goes. It's Tom Watson.
So he's now
narrow
starting.
Line, very narrow on entry,
Ooh.
and very wide on exit.
I don't think that's what he had in mind.
No, I think he did mess that one up. The graphic is back for us, so that's all gravy. Into the corkscrew. I think people have seen different lines, and they're changing their mind. It looks like they're half doing one and half doing the other, but exit under the bridge was good.
I wouldn't say that one lap qualifying is a place to test your new moves.
No.
I think you should do that in practice.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they've done, and they're trying to see if it ekes them out. Maybe seeing that time by Philpott's kind of shook them up a little bit.
Watson goes 12th, 32.925. So as it stands, we've got Philpott still on pole position, guys, 31.3, and
don't forget, guys, we've still got some more drivers to go out. So the next driver crossing the line now to start his laps, Preston.
Adam Preston then into the first corner. Looks quite tidy, a little bit oversteer in the mid corner there. Through the chicane he goes and up over the bridge. Looked pretty tidy through the chicane, PJ. Into the getting it real stopped early, that one. Going down under the corkscrew, round the final corner. The corner under the bridge, going into the final corner. I'll get my words back out in a minute. Decent exit.
Yeah, that looked quite good, quite tidy. So let's see what he gets as he crosses the line.
33.272. He's 14th and last as it stands. There he is on the graphic.
So still quite, not a bad lap time in comparison to some of the drivers we get down here. So kart 12 now is going to start his flying lap, and that will be Alan Kiddle. So into the first corner he goes. He seemed to brake twice in, and then he missed the apex as he went through. So not the greatest start from our angle for his lap, but let's see how the rest of it goes. So he's heading down to the corkscrew now, and he's run a really wide line. That's kind of extended the amount of mileage he's got to cover around the circuit. Now it's only a matter of 1 or 2 meters, but if you're traveling at 60 miles an hour, it's 2 meters a second. So 30 miles an hour, it's 1 meter a second, and if you go an extra 2 metres around the circuit, that's an extra 2 seconds. So, where did we end up then with his time? I've just seen, Kiddle, he's actually managed to get it up to 11th place. So, he's not in the first final at the moment, and I'm sure that's going to be, he might be heading backwards a little bit.
This is the man we need to watch, Josh Nye.
Absolutely, Reno's giving me a good nudge on my arm because this is the one we want to watch. So, he's weighted with physical weight, and I believe he's got a little bit of kart digital weight on there as well because he is quite light. He's only a young lad. But you see him coming down here. Interesting to see what line he does through the course in comparison to everyone else. Gone a little bit wide, but...
No, that's all right. That's what we normally do. So let's keep an eye on him. Under the bridge he comes. Bit narrow on entry. Little hop in the middle, but good exit. And into the final corner he comes. And
that was interesting. A
bit
of a more
nice
narrow
exit as well. Let's have a look across the line.
Hey!
31.334. 58 thousandths of a second difference. He's on pole for now.
I shouldn't have cheered as much as I did just then, but that's really good to see because I know he's been working in the off-season to improve his one-lap time. So next out...
Martin Medlock. He's gone narrow to wide to get the slide, and he's got a good exit actually out of that. So let's see how Martin does. I know he's been practicing his one-laps as well, so let's see how he does. Coming through into the corkscrew now, and a little bit wide, but it's not the worst exit we've seen. In under the bridge, a little bit of a hop, didn't hit the barrier, which is good. Going into the final corner now, and Martin Medlock across the line. Let's see where he goes. Medlock is 7th on a 32.019. So far he's in that A race, one with all the points in for you.
Absolutely, if you can get your words out. I was just watching, sorry, I wasn't just paying attention to what's going on, I was just watching Josh's reaction to when his dad gave him the all-useful P1 finger, and
now
I think he's over the moon.
This PJ is Ira Ellis Scott.
Oh, here we go, this is going to be another one.
Hopefully he's going to be just as quick. We're going through into the chicane, into the corkscrew now, sorry. Down the bridge he goes, and now we're under the bridge into the hairpin. It's a decent exit, PJ.
Certainly is. If we keep the last corner together here, I think we're on to another quite quick time. He's a little bit wider than Philpott does, and he brings that cart round. Actually, slows it down. So
32.474. Remember, this is only his second or third meeting with weight on.
Yeah, so that's actually a little bit lower down than where we thought he would be. So that's really a bit of a surprise, but it actually mixes things up for the race that he's going to be in. So he's at the moment at the back of the fastest race.
But we've got George Macy to go. He's one of the Philpott crew in the Tony Kart gears. Let's see how he gets on. It's a good chicane so far, up and over Damon Hill.
Yeah, I can say he's got all the kit, and let's hope he's good at going around the track for a one-lap qualifier.
Does a little bit wide on exit in the corkscrew. That's gonna hinder him.
That's not Team Philpott regulation corkscrew taking there, but that you never know. That might be the difference. That might be he might have seen something that our drivers are doing, and he might be thinking that's the way to do it. So
yeah, across the line. Let's see what George can do. Well, George is 12th on a 32.628, so he's currently not in that A final, as we are going to see driver number 19 come round.
Driver number 20 now.
Oh, sorry, driver number 20.
So the last one to do his flying lap, and that is Poigneur.
No, Poigneur's already done it. It's Pryor. Into the chicane he comes. Looks pretty tidy to me, PJ. Up and over Damon Hill, across the bridge, and down into the corkscrew. Narrow line, decent exit, runs a little bit wide. Under the bridge he comes. Sounds like he missed. Well, he definitely missed the apex there. Sounded like he braked a little bit too early and then changed his mind. Final corner, get a good exit. Across the line he comes, and he
13th.
13th on a 32.636. So there we have it then. One lap qualifying over. No mistakes for this one, unlike we did with the juniors. So your grid then. Josh Nye is on pole position. Bradley Philpott is in second position. Jay Smith, third. Tom Watson, fourth. Sean Briley, fifth. Jonathan Elliott, sixth. Martin Medlock, seventh. Paul Harris, eighth. Guy Jolly, ninth. And Ira Ellis Scott in 10th position.
So the second race will be starting with Ricky Cahill in first place. Macy in second, alongside, next row in would be Pryor on the inside of the circuit, alongside Chambers. Row back, then it's Rajkhani beside Kiddle. Then we've got Cox and Watson. And the last two to fill up that part of the circuit will be Poigneur and Preston. So Which one do we run first?
The slower one goes
slower
first.
one first. So we've got a bit more pressure to build before we see the Nye Philpott race happening. I don't think they've discussed their lap times together with each other on the bridge at the moment. But what an amazing lap there by Josh Nye.
Yeah, Josh Nye smashing that time. What was it, 58 thousandths of a second? Let's just scroll up a second so I can see what it was and give you boys and girls at home exactly the difference. Yeah, 0.058 between Josh and Bradley.
So just over half a tenth of a second separated them, and they are, well, 2.5 tenths faster than the person behind them, Smith. So
interestingly, PJ, the whole grid was separated by under 2 seconds on one lap qualifying. That's not bad going.
That's not bad going at all, because then we've got some guys that haven't raced in the league before. That's quite an impressive thing to see. I'm sure the marshals are quite impressed with the lap times they've seen out there. They've got a lot of learning to do in comparison to the lap times they do. But Josh and I must be over the moon with that qualifying performance. And let's hope that, starting on the inside line, that he is able to capitalise a little bit more on that starting position, because that's going to put Philpott actually to the outside, which if he gets a bad start, it's going to be a little bit of a disadvantage for him, because the guy who's starting in third place, I can't quite see that name at the moment, but the guy starting in third place behind him will actually be able to hopefully have a little bit of a run. There we go, Smith.
We have just been informed that Kiddle will be having his time removed as he did not pit on his in-lap.
Well, that's mixed things up a little bit.
So he will start dead last, as he's the only one to do. So I take my statement back. There was a mistake. Norby's just informed me. We missed it on the cameras. But Alan Kiddle, who was starting in 16th overall, will now start 20th.
Okay, so that's mixed things up a little bit. It's going to be disappointing for him, but we do have another qualifying session and another race, don't we?
We do. Yeah, so after this race, 30 laps for the 2 races that we're going to run. We've then got another 1-lap qualifier. And then we've got, yeah, Joe's just given me a quick, oh, this is going to be tasty. And then we've got another 30-lap race to finish off the day. We're expecting finish time is between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, PJ.
Excellent. I'll be home in time for tea then, maybe. Or I might be having tea at the Race Club Diner, which is open.
We agreed, Peach, because obviously the 2 mess-ups now. It's. I don't think me and Martin are getting out of this, so we owe you dinner tonight. So
you do, and I want it candlelit as well.
Oh, we've got candles up in the restaurant. I'm sure Matt can arrange that for you. We'll give you your own separate table, a few rose petal
all my mates.
Yeah.
Well, I like to say I don't like being wrong. I don't like being proved right all the time, but I'd be lying if I said that. So no, it's nice to get a little win. Seems I'm not in a cart today, so I've got to get a little win somewhere.
And Challenge Peach didn't go exactly to plan. 50% out of 6 points is a bit difficult.
Yeah,
but you've got to win somewhere.
Yeah, I've got to have a little win. To be honest, the 1950s and 1951, that was a tough decision, because I know that the Formula One kind of ran a little bit before the war, and I was trying to work out when the official World Championship began rather than the Grand Prix series. Now, I do want to grab a word with Josh Nye, just to see how he feels after that qualifying lap, but he's actually up on the gantry at the moment, so what I could do is I might just go pull him into the interview room briefly. Rena just going to do some filler for me while I head over there and grab him.
Yeah, there's a couple of holes in this. In this control room. We're going to have to fill it.
Why don't you tell them a little bit more about the cadet and junior leagues for any guys out there that have got youngsters who are wishing to race?
Yeah. So first of all, ages 8 to 12 is a cadet league. We run them in the afternoon, so there's the second session out today. And if you think you've got a budding young driver who can keep up with the likes of Joel Dixon Cohen and the 2 O'Hara brothers, then please bring them down. We'd love to see them. First weekend in April is always, well, the first weekend of any month is going to be the league night. It's the first Sunday. So yeah, just make sure that you tune in, get them down, get them tested, because they're on adult carts, and there will be some filler later on as well. I can see PJ just getting ready on my screen. Just very quickly, if you have drivers between 12 and 16, that's for junior leagues. Again, get them down as early as you possibly can. Now, PJ, are you about ready for him?
Absolutely. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, you can.
Okay then, fire away, mate.
Thank you very much. So I'm joined here by Josh Nye. We said you were going out 15th in order and to wait until we kind of decided who was on pole till then. How do you feel beating Bradley Philpott?
Yeah, it's good. It was good lap from him because it was half a tenth split between us. So yeah, it's nice to start the year on pole because that's 2 points as well already.
So do you think that being on the inside of the track for the start is going to benefit you over Philpott being on the outside?
Yeah, because I think being on the inside, it'll protect me from others. I think if I can get through the first corner, then go from there.
Excellent. So if you can keep it nice and clean and out of the way of trouble, you should have this in the bag. Wish you all the best. Hopefully we're stood here talking to each other as winners.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, I'll hand you back to Reno in the commentary box, and we're going to get the first of the races out of the way, which is a slower race, and then we'll be seeing Josh race start from pole just after that. So we'll see Josh in about 30 laps time. Back to the commentary box.
Thank you very much, PJ. So we're just going to cut to the karts getting ready for this first race. This is the slower drivers from qualifying, so positions 11 to 20. There's points on offer, always on offer. In this particular heat, it's 5, then 4, 3, 2 and 1. So the top 5 will score championship points in race 1. And then you've got the fastest lap, obviously, to try and get as well. Let's have a look at the starting lineup then, as obviously Alan did get that penalty from qualifying for running over the start-finish line 1 extra time. So Ricky Cahill will start on pole. George Massey, watch out for him, he's quick. Phil Pryor as well. Dan Chambers is in 4th. Michael Rakhani 5th. Max Cox in 6th position. Tom Watson in 7th. Michael Poyner in 8th. Adam Preston 9th. And Alan Kiddle is at the back in position 10. PJ, welcome back.
Thank
you
very much. Yes, I'm unmuting my microphone. I just bumped into Kez. Who's being a bit of a glamour to the circuit tonight, so it's nice to see her. I'm going to give her a wave now, just to really confuse her there. There we go. So just showing her the green screen as well. She's really impressed with that. So
okay. Well,
yeah.
Well, if she still worked here, she'd be able to find out, wouldn't she? But it is a. You know, she didn't want it at the end of the day. She wanted to do something else. Then
yeah, no, absolutely, and I don't blame her. So yeah, no, they've joined us now, and I think they're coming for some food in the lovely diner. And we're actually now watching our first drivers get lined up or waited up and sat in their cart. So I probably will grab an interview with one of them just on the grid just to see how they feel. And so we've got Ricky Cahill starting in pole position for this race. That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, get a word with Ricky. I think PJ, we don't really get to speak to Ricky much, so it'd be nice to hear what he thinks about the new format later on, maybe. But yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll get a proper interview done at the end of the second race for your race winner overall.
I was going to say, there's only 2 regulars actually in that group. That's Ricky Cahill there at the front, and then Alan Kiddle, who actually had his lap time removed. Yeah. He's actually at the back of that group, and the rest of them appear to me as new drivers.
Yeah, they all are. A few of them have done testing, so I think Phil Pryor's been down a couple of times, Dan Chambers as well.
Has he been down Pryor, has he? Sorry, everyone.
Wow.
We don't.
Wow. We'll sack him in the morning, don't worry, guys.
Yeah,
Dan Chambers has been down a couple of times, so has Michael Rajkani. I think Max Cox might have done a little bit of testing. Tom Watson did earlier in the year. I'm not 100% sure with Michael Poyner and Adam Preston either, but yeah, Alan Kiddle should have started ahead of Tom Watson, but remember the penalty as well. So we're going to the race.
Have we got any comments on our Twitch feed that we can read out? Anything nice? No, nothing
not
nice.
Really.
Okay, let's not read those.
Fair enough.
Only joking. It's a new format for us. Now, a lot of the drivers are actually making their way to the grid and they're warming their tyres up as they come through. As you can hear, the volume's got a little bit louder because I'm stood quite close to the circuit. They're warming their tyres up as they go around to the grid. Now, the last driver hasn't exited the pit lane yet, so the guy in first place, our man Ricky Cahill,
might be wasting his
time
there. Yeah.
I certainly tend to make sure I don't enter the last 2 corners until everyone from the pit lane's exited, but I get really precious about these things and I think about them too much, and I should just be here having fun. So let me run down and just have a quick word with Ricky while I've got the mic in my hand, and just see how he feels about this pole position. So visor up then. It's stuck in. Right, how do you feel about this race starting in pole? Looking forward to hopefully converting it to a win?
Yeah, it should be good. It's nice to have some fresh faces on the grid to race against, see what they're up to, so yeah, it'll be good.
Excellent. And I know Alan's starting in the back because of his qualifying mishap. Do you think he's going to move up from there?
If he can count, yeah.
It's very nice of you to say. So I'll get out the way of the grid. You can see our drivers lined up. We've got the race suits of the professional drivers out there as well, and they're all lining up. So it's yellow lights, says that we're ready to get racing. Red lights, everyone gets prepared, and it's lights out, away we go. So marshals are just checking their position. We've got a thumbs up there from Norby, so he's ready to go. So it's going to be eyes on the lights now.
Okay, so here we go then. Yellow lights. Red lights. Lights out and we are go. It's a great start from Ricky, and that's already George who's having to cut across. Let's have a look at the back. Alan Kiddle has got through, but there was a bit of contact made and a lot of bumping down at the final. Who's going around the outside? That might be... well, he's got caught up actually and ended up at the back anyway. That's cut 44. That's Michael Poyner.
There's a lot of contact there. Gentleman in the orange race suit kind of got muscled out a little bit. I feel bad for him there. It wasn't necessarily his fault, but we'll have that on replay, I'm certain.
Is he all right?
So we can actually see that that start. The marshals are pulling him out of the barrier now.
That might be a red flag, PJ. It
might be a red flag. We need to get a yellow flag out. It's a red flag, so we're going to be bringing the racing to an end.
So we'll be restarting, PJ. We'll be restarting.
It is meant to be a smooth and controlled stop before they go out. So... he is getting out the cart, so he does seem to be okay. I think it's just a matter of him being wedged under the barrier there. So it looks slightly in pain, but you see the marshals there are pulling the cart out from the barrier. So hopefully that's all it is. It's just contact with the barrier. It will be a restart from the line, Reno.
It will be a restart from the original grid positions as well, PJ. Norby's just going to test that cart, and hopefully there's no damage to it because there is no spare carts tonight. So if it has been damaged, then it's not going to go well. That was Michael Radkani, I think. I'm just going to quickly get Norby to have a word with all the drivers before they
and make sure they go out in the right grid order as well for us, because I don't want anyone to have benefited too badly from that. So as you can see, they are the slower drivers. It doesn't mean that they're less experienced or less quality, but we do have a replay of that. So let's hit the replay button and have a little look back to see what exactly happened there. So there's going to be a lot of chaos going on here. So once that gets underway, there we go. So we can see the nice clean break at the beginning. The first, second, third, fourth drivers. We've got a guy going up the inside there. I believe that's Alan Kiddle. Now he makes initial contact with the fourth from the back car. But there's a driver going around the outside here. There's contact here on the right-hand side of the screen. You can see the third driver's taking a bit of a T-bone from the driver behind. So that's pushed him wide. But then the driver's gone around the outside, managed to tuck in quite nicely. But it's really put two drivers out of position. Going side by side through here is really difficult to do. Now he's moved along, and we can see now that he's actually on the outside and he's getting tapped from behind. So the guy that was stuck in the barrier at the end, actually very much a victim of that. It was a person that tucked up the inside of him that managed to carry on round. So really good replay action there, and you know it's a shame to see it starting a red flag. But Reno's now actually out on circuit. You can see him and his lovely Jesus-style haircut. We call him a Jesus of karting around here. He's now going through and just having a little word with the drivers, just to make sure A, everyone's okay, and B, everyone knows that this is a 30-lap race, not a one-corner race, as I keep saying to a lot of people out there. So he's just having a quick word. We don't have his mic on, thankfully, otherwise you'd hear him shouting at people. He is okay. Reno just wants to make sure that the racing's good, that everyone's okay. So it's now everyone's getting resent round in their starting position, so it'll be a restart on the grid for these drivers here. Now I couldn't quite see from the replay which driver that was that gave him a little bit of a nudge as he came through, but everyone seems okay. The karts seem okay. Drivers lined back up, and Reno's making his way back into the commentary box now. Reno, everyone okay, Reno?
Everyone's okay, PJ. Yeah, we're just getting them back round and ready. Basically, yeah, a little bit too much contact. We're not going to penalise anyone on this occasion. But what we are going to do is we are going to take the 3 laps off the overall time. So instead of it being a 30-lap race now, it'll be 27. Norby is just setting that up. So we are just waiting for the go.
Let's just do a quick shuffle as everyone moves around. There's 4 of us in this very small commentary box. If you have us on Facebook, you would have seen a little bit behind the scenes video with me in the commentary box just before we went live on Twitch, and you can see where the magic's done. But we're good to go this side. Norby looks like he's good to go. He's just marshalling, raiding the marshals to ensure that they're all safe and good to go. And it's yellow lights.
Red. Lights out, and it's a great start from Ricky Cahill once again. And this time I think that's Pryor going up the inside of George Macy into turn 1. The boys have been warned about the contact in the first part, a little bit of bumping at the back, but it's nowhere near as bad as race 1. As they come through the chicane once more, this time they've got through pretty safely. Quite side by side, but overall so good. Ricky's got a good start, and he's pulling away from Macy and Pryor behind him.
Excellent. That's a bit of a better start than last time, and the drivers are still. There seems to be 2 groups: the first 4, and then the remaining 6 drivers, all in one quite quick succession. But Ricky's managed to cross the line. He's gained 1.8 seconds on the guy behind him. But the guy behind him is one of our newcomers, Macy, and he's got the guy with the Tony Kart suit and the white helmet. So expecting if he can be relieved of the pressure that he's getting from Cox behind
Cox,
him.
Yeah, so Cox has got up to 3rd and putting all the pressure on. And remember, PJ, there's only 5 points for the winner in this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, plus the fastest lap if he can hold on through the other race as well. Someone's hit the barrier. I think that was Dan Chambers.
So this is working out really well for Ricky Cahill now, because the guys behind him are fighting amongst themselves and they are pushing as hard as they can against each other. You'll notice, he's got up the inside. He hasn't made a split.
And John's having to run down to the first corner, and that's 2 of them. I think that, in fairness, Pryor just got caught up in the accident. Cox went up the inside. There was no room from what I saw. We'll have a look back at it after the race, because there could be a penalty involved, but Norby's not looking like he's well, he is getting on the radio, but I'm not sure if anything's going to come of it, which means Ricky Cahill is going to lead George Macy by probably 2.5 seconds again, 2.4. But now, as they cross the line, it's Dan Chambers up into 3rd, Watson 4th, Kiddle from the back of the grid is 5th, then Pointer, then Rajkhani, then Preston, and then it's going to be Cox and Pryor, 9th and 10th.
Kiddle had a really, really good start, actually. It was in the first lap and the first corner he made up quite a few places, so he's done really, really well to build up those places as well. And I do have to worry for Cahill now that Macy hasn't got that pressure from behind. So that's going to be interesting to see if he can close that gap down. It was 2.4 seconds last time around. Has that gap extended or closed down a bit? It's actually extended by a whole second, so Ricky's controlling the pace at the moment. The drivers behind, so in 3rd, 4th and 5th, so that's Chambers, Watson and Kiddle. They're all relatively close to each other out on circuit, with Chambers there having the other drivers coming down on him. And you'll see from the restart, Kiddle went round the outside of a lot of drivers, kept it very clean and really profited from the chaos of that first corner.
Very sensible start from Kiddle, actually. Did very well, and now he's all over the back of Watson, a newcomer to the league, and Chambers obviously holding them both up. We're seeing them now come down the main start-finish straight.
So that last lap around, Macy was actually half a second quicker on the lap time last round, so he's managed to close the gap to Cahill. But that group behind is still keeping a very consistent gap. In fact, Kiddle is managing to gain a little bit on the guys behind, so on the guy in front, sorry. So it's then Poigneur, Rajkhani, Preston, Cox and Pryor who are going to have to start really pushing up, because Kiddle is getting all over the back of Watson.
So PJ, Cox and Pryor have already caught the back of Preston. They're going to be coming through the field in a bit. But as it stands, fastest lap of this race, 31.8. I think it will need to be quicker to get fastest lap overall, but that is by George Mason, so he'll hold it for now. The lead of the race, so Ricky Cahill, 3 seconds a gap. It's starting to come down a little bit. We've had 6 laps, we've got another 19 to go.
Yeah, so the fastest guy out on circuit at the moment is Macy, so his fastest lap times are 31.826. Cahill in front of him is 31.957, so those guys are lapping quite consistently in the same area. So in actual fact, that gap is now dropping. Macy went down from 3.5 second gap to 2.75 second gap. So Cahill's going to have to keep his calm. And as we watch a little move there with Kiddle trying to put a bit of a pressure there on kart 46.
Let's just keep watching them for a little bit, because Kiddle and Watson are really battling together as they come through the corkscrew now. Watson is in front, Kiddle behind, and look at the close he is coming under the bridge. Is he going to have a look? No, he decides against it. Not really got the best exit, and he'll have to think of it for another lap. Up at the corkscrew though, we've had a little bit of a change. I think that's Cox. Yeah, Cox is through past Preston for 8th position.
Yeah, that was a nice little move actually down through the corkscrew. It's certainly a place that favours the brave, the corkscrew, when it comes to overtaking. But these guys now, so Kiddle's still putting the pressure on Watson in front of him, which has actually given Chambers a little bit of an advantage, because he's having to be less defensive, and because Watson is dropping away from behind him. So maybe we can see that gap between Macy and Chambers start to pull down, which would free up Cahill to concentrate on just his own lap times. But
And while we watch this battle, PJ, we've got Macy down to 2.5 second gap to Cahill, so he's pushing hard. But we're still watching the battle for 4th position between Watson and Kiddle, and they're the last remaining points in for this race.
Absolutely. So looking at lap times again, and it is Macy now with a 31.7, still lapping the fastest out there. Don't get me wrong.
31.5. Cox is quicker, all the way down in 8th place, so he's got the fastest lap of this race so far.
Fantastic. So he's got Mike Rajkani in front of him, and the gap between them, they'll just update as they come across the line. But it's really close. I think Rajkani's in kart 12. He made contact with the exit of the barrier, kart 50 there. You can see Cox, he's got his head stooped into the first corner. There's Rajkani is going through the top of your screen, and then Cox behind him, and then followed is then Pryor and Preston. So those two guys are happening. So now going down side by side to come into the corkscrew. I don't think that Cox is close enough to Rajkani then to make a move.
Let's have a look if he could do it under the bridge though, PJ. He decides against it. Can he get a better run and think about going up in the inside into turn 1? I'm just trying to keep my eyes open on the rest of the circuit, Peach, because there's a lot of happening. Here
Absolutely. He's making a move. Rajkani's seen him coming, but he's had to switch to the outside. So it's forced Rajkani onto the inside, which is a slower line, but a more defensive line. Rajkani's managed to keep it. Now Cox is going to try and put a little bit more pressure on him to then get the run on him down to first corner, because he seems to gain quite a lot on the last corner, does Cox on Rajkani.
And there's been a bit of an incident there. Once again at the corkscrew, I've missed that, PJ. I'm looking at the lap times, but it looks as though it's Rajkani, Pryor, Cox, and then Preston. So Pryor, I think that was Rajkani and Cox getting it all wrong in the corkscrew.
Yeah, which gave
Pryor's
Pryor
going up the inside,
up.
and he's done it. And look at Cox, he's up the inside as well. So unfortunately, Rajkani's gone from 7th to 9th in one corner, and now he's got to keep an eye on Preston, who's looking to get past him as well.
But that's going to be really interesting now, because Pryor and Cox have got quite a good amount of pace. Certainly Cox at 31.5, Pryor's best lap time 32.17. Maybe that will improve now. He's got a bit of space, but he's going to have to keep the momentum going, because Cox is all over the back of him, and if he's not too careful, he will come past. So we see him as they cross the line now. That order should update on our screens, and yet we can see Pryor's made a move. We're watching them into the first corner now, and those two are quite close, but they're managing to get away from Rajkani there, and maybe Rajkani's just got to hold his best against Preston behind him. That's going to be a battle that continues on.
Further up the field, we've got a battle for 3rd. It's Chambers versus Watson. Watson's broke Kiddle's lead.
Oh, he's looking at the inside, but he wasn't quite close enough to make a move there. So that was kart 39 as they snake through in kart 45. So that is Watson and Chambers battling out as they come down towards the corkscrew now.
So Chambers taking a narrow line compared to Watson as they come under the bridge. We've got a poor exit from Chambers. He's feeling the pressure from Watson, and watch out for Kiddle behind. We've already seen a couple of mistakes leading to people dropping to the back of the grid. Fastest lap, just out of interest, still a 31.5.
And just as a point of interest as well, Cahill is still getting quite a good lead up front, so it keeps changing between about 0.6 of a second, but at the moment the gap between first and second is 3.192 seconds, so a little bit of time Cahill's got ahead. So we do focus back on the guys now coming out of the tunnel. So this is the Chambers, Watson, Kiddle battle, and Watson is all over the back of Chambers at the moment, and Chambers seems to run a little bit wide on that corner, but he gets a good run.
We've got a battle at the back though, up the inside under the corkscrew. Pryor and Cox are still battling it out. I can't remember which way round was which.
Pryor's first, Cox is second.
Yeah, so I think it's stayed as it was, but they were side by side coming under the bridge. They're on the screen now into turn 1, and this is an interesting battle between Pryor and Cox. Cox has the fastest lap still at 31.542, so he's gotten that bonus point as it stands, but as they come through,
so he's lapping 1 second slower than his best time at the moment. Yeah. There's actually some changing through the corkscrew just then. Those two guys having a little look at the inside. So Cox has definitely been slowed down by Pryor, because Pryor's best lap's 31.7. He's lapping in 32.3. So 0.6 of a second of his best time.
Norby's just preparing the blue flag. I'm not sure who that's for. It might be for Preston, because Cahill is so far ahead of him at the moment. There's Cahill across the line now.
Yeah, Cahill's across the line now. Still got quite a good lead over Macy in second, so that's 3.759 seconds gap. So Cahill, as long as he can keep his head nice and cool, he should have this in the bag. But as we saw from the Cadet League this morning, you can go from first to last very quickly. So
very, very quickly. And let's just keep our eyes on the battle for 7th. Unfortunately, there is no points on offer for these two, but they can try and reel in the guy in front of them, which is Kart 44, Michael Poyner. They're a little bit far behind, but it is still doable if they work together. The gap at the front, meanwhile, is extended to 4 seconds. So Ricky Cahill really in a commanding lead. He's got back markers coming up, though. Let's watch out for that.
We have only got 6 laps left of this race, so there's going to be some moves to be made. They need to be made relatively soon. And the Priors and Cox battle still going on. It's going to be a battle like my colleague Reno here just said. It's not about points for this one. It's going to be about pride. And Watson seems to... Oh, he's got down the inside. He managed to make a stick. We're going to get a replay on that bad boy. That was a lovely little move there. Now that's 3 Cox up now, and Cox hopefully should be able to gap a little bit and make a little bit of movement on the guy in front. I don't think it's close enough to actually make a change before the end of the race, but anything could change at this point.
Well, we can see that Cox's fastest lap, he was about a second a lap slower. So let's see, he's already opening the gap on Pryor. Is there any other battles going on track as it stands, PJ? Because I can't see them. They're pretty, spread out at the moment.
I was going to say that there has been the group, the Macy Chambers Kiddle.
Sorry, Chambers, Watson, Kiddle.
Sorry, Chambers, Watson, Kiddle race. That's kind of still very much there. Still very much a possibility that something might happen. But Kiddle's still off the back of them. They've spread out a little bit. It's by this point of the race that the fatigue of the driver starts to kick in a little bit. And
Cahill's coming up to back markers. First of all, it's Preston, but he's being held up a little bit by Rajkani. So let's see if Cahill can squeeze through him without being hindered here, because obviously Preston's got his own...
It's kart 12 Rajkani, but it's 47 of Preston that needs to move out the way for him, and as Alan goes through on the inside.
He does very well, and now he's got to do the same for George as he's coming through. We've only got 3 laps to go, so I think it will just be Preston who needs another blue flag, and obviously Rajkani as well, but Preston has dropped off the back of Cahill, so he's not going to use the advantage there at all very, very well.
The blue flag area actually is down on the main grid, so Macy's actually managed to pass it.
He has,
and without too much trouble.
Gap's only 2 seconds. Gap's only 2 seconds, and George can obviously caper up, but Cahill's being let through again. But if we look back to the Watson group now, it's Chambers v Watson, and Watson's alongside. Is he? Not quite, as he comes onto the main straight. There is a gap though. Is he going to go for it? No. Chambers cuts it off quite well, and Kiddle has fallen back behind them quite
only 2 laps left, and I think the drivers know that, and when there's 2 laps left of a race, they start to take more chances, so it may come down to the very, very last lap when they actually make that final move. So it's all still to play for very much between those two, but the rest of the grid, unless someone makes a mistake, they're quite well spaced at the moment. The leaders have been able to pass the back
a little
markers.
Bit of contact there between Watson and Chambers, PJ. So Watson has obviously come off the back of him a little bit more, but it was just under braking into the final corner. We're on the final lap, and where is Ricky? He's just about to come down the final corner now. So
we're going to notice the checkered flag. So car 46 is looking behind him. He knows it's clear, and I'm sure he's going to be absolutely over the moon with that performance. And then as they come across the line, the final positions are. So Macy did finish 2.8 seconds behind Cahill. Cahill was able to keep
it's going to be Chambers ahead of Watson.
And with the ever so lucky Kiddle there, who did really, really well, considering starting at the back. He's managed to finish 5th. That's for anyone who says he can't overtake on the circuit, speak to Alan, because he'll tell you otherwise.
Yeah, he just overtook 5 people in one race, so definitely.
Absolutely. And they're not slouches either. So let's have a quick look at the best lap time of that race.
31.2. 8.2, because there was a 31.2.86 as well.
So
very quick, 31.282. I reckon that could, depending on this next race and how held up people get, that could be a fastest lap, PJ.
It's very confusing because it's 31.826 and 31.286. So we have got some replays to look at actually, which we'll start going through momentarily. Let's have a look before I run off to the interview room. Let's have a look. So what are we looking at first? This is the start, the first corner. This is the
start, so a lot of contact between Pryor and Macy initially, and then I think it's Chambers who gets caught up in that, going around the outside.
Now watch Kiddle, look, coming from the back, he's gone past 1-2 people, straight into that first corner, round the outside, so the other driver's been slowed down by that initial collision.
I'm trying to
Kiddle's
think,
managed to go around quite well.
I think that might have been Poyner going right round the outside, but ended up finishing down in 6th. the same sort of thing as Kiddle, but just towards the front of the grid. So we've got another one coming up for you. Let's have a look. That's Ricky, and then that's.
This is the move.
This is the
inside.
crash. So no, he didn't even touch him. He actually just got, and then Pryor just gets caught up in it. He had nowhere to go. So Max's mistake caused Phil to ruin his race. So I thought there was a bit of contact between him and George, but he actually did it on his own accord.
No, he did, absolutely. So that's interesting. They'll enjoy watching that back later. And we've got another replay here as well. So
Quite a few.
This is the overtaking down through the corkscrew, isn't it?
So
down
this
the
is
inside.
this was around the outside. Now we didn't see that. Joe, well done.
He picks
Well
up on
done.
that one.
What a move! If we saw that, we would have been raving about that one.
Yeah, that was a lovely move.
Who was it
actually.
before? Just rewind that for us, Joe.
See if we can get a clue of the driver number there. There we go. We are going backwards.
Oh, did he not?
Oh, no, so
it was
it's
just
a
a
bit of a
successful
move.
defend. Okay, so we missed the beginning bit of that. So it was an attempt. Kart 47 was Preston, and I'm trying to think. Is that Cox? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I'm not too sure. I'm going to quickly run to the interview room. So you guys carry on. No, we're going to leave the interview room for this one. I will try and speak to Josh and to see how much pressure he's feeling on the grid. In fact, I might speak to Philpott actually on the grid just to see how he feels. So we've got another replay to look at here, guys.
So Joe's on this.
Oh no, we've got loads of replays.
Joe's on this. So what's this one then?
They're going backwards.
No.
Let's see.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh, hello.
Let's have a look.
We do a reverse
Backwards
circuit,
again.
you know.
Yeah, not like quite like this.
No, not in a reverse
Here we go.
gear.
Here we go. So let's have a look. So just trying to see which one it was.
Is it that camera we're looking at, or is it some?
It might have been a different camera, Joe. Because no, all right.
There's something going on here.
We'll
Oh, here we go.
Joe's on it. So that's Pryor going up the inside of Rajkani. That's it. Yeah. So Max got through as well. So Joe did pick that up. It was just a delay on that one. No, fair play to you, Joe. You didn't just mug us off there, and but you did well there, mate. That's a good one. So yeah, the double overtake, because Rajkani went from 7th to 9th. So that was a bit unfortunate for him.
We've got another replay as well. We're bang on the replays today. So let's have a look to see what develops through this through this here now. We're watching to the back of the screen. So there's two drivers here, they're relatively close. So he's going down the inside.
This is the opportunity for Max to get through past Phil.
And I'll be honest,
that was a good move.
Yeah, from quite far back as well.
Yeah.
He's very, very trusting that his driver beside him wouldn't move across and cut him off. So
and Joe has actually got one more, PJ.
Oh, one more.
Yeah, we
had more replays in live action.
I know.
Okay, so here
Under
is
the bridge. I'm trying to see, was this... so this was George Macy. So this was actually his move, because he didn't get the blue flag. Adam Preston didn't get the blue flag. He left the door open under the bridge, and George Macy took the opportunity without needing the blue flag. So very opportunistic move in there.
Absolutely, because the blue flag zone is actually on the start-finish straight. So leave the mic with me. I'm just going to go down and chat to Bradley in the pit lane just to see how he's feeling ahead of this race, to see if he's got any kind of any insights into how he thinks it's going to go. Mr. Philpott, how do you feel about starting on the outside for your first race?
It's not ideal, is it?
No, it's not ideal.
You have to concentrate on getting over to the inside as quick as possible.
Excellent. Are you in awe of the young Josh here, who's only 15?
He did a good job, didn't he? I was hoping I'd done enough, but I did a good lap, so I'm quite happy with my qualifying. He just obviously did a better one.
Fantastic. I say you two are in a league of your own through the qualifying session, so let's hope it's a nice bit of close racing as we go live. So I'll get out of the way of the pit lane, and these guys can get lined up on the grid, and I might grab another cheeky interview. I might speak to Paul Harris, actually. He's at the back of the grid for this one, just to see how he is. I'm sure he's going to tell me that he's absolutely happy with everything and everything's absolutely fine. That's what he normally says. So I'll just double back and check on him to make sure he's okay. Now, all the drivers have left the pit lane quite close to each other. So there's not going to be much of a delay between me getting off the grid and the race starting. So anyone heating up their tyres now has got a bit of an advantage. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the start of this race, see how soon Philpott can move across and capitalise on what he's got going on in terms of potential for this race. So Josh and I there warming up his tyres. He wants to make sure he keeps it nice and cool. I'm going to have a quick word with Paul Harris before the race starts. I just want to make sure that everything's fine and everything's okay and everything's happy, because I know if there is...
I know he's got a lot of words to say, so yeah, let's get that done.
Yeah, I'll wait to...
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's
Martin,
an interesting
yes, an
move.
attacking move from Philpott.
All right, leave the mic with me. I'm gonna head down and just have a quick chat. That is very interesting. Look at that angle. Look at that angle. Look, he knows what he's doing. He's got the angle in, so he's going to go straight downside him, hopefully blocking off our man in 43 here. So I'm going to go all the way back to Paul Harris at the back. Here we go. So, welcome back.
That's all right.
Yeah, everything okay? You happy with everything?
Yeah, no, it's going all right, isn't it?
Yeah. Want much from this race or just a bit of fun?
See what happens. They're quick, aren't they? So,
They are. Have you seen how Philpott's lined up at the front?
all right.
He's turning in for that initial start, so that's going to be a really good start. Yeah. All the best, mate. I'm going to get off the grid now and get back to the commentary box so these guys can get going. And this is going to be a really, really interesting first corner. I can't wait for this. This is going to be fantastic. I really hope Josh Nye can hold on to his own and he gets a good, clean start for this race. So, looking good, isn't it?
Certainly is, PJ. We're waiting. It's yellow lights. It's red lights. Lights out and we'll go. Josh has got a good start. Bradley comes across, but already there's contact. And I couldn't see who that was. That might have been Jay Smith, who he's blocked off there. And actually the winner of all that was Kart 47. And Kart 47 was Thomas Krakowski. So champion last year, second now. Philpott made an error.
Yeah, he definitely made an effort trying to cover up that inside. He just did not watch what Krakowski was doing behind him. A little bit of contact with some of the drivers that come through the tunnel now, and that's really, really interesting because it's put Bradley Philpott back in third from a possible second place. Now, Thomas Krakowski and Josh Nye have raced together before. They'll know what each other's like. Thomas Krakowski's got a really good advantage at the moment because Bradley's not anywhere near him in terms of the circuit. But we watched the true drivers go side by side there. Kart 38 and Kart 45.
50. So yeah, we've got Guy, Jolly and Harris in 8th and 9th. Elliott and Brierley racing for 6th and 7th. I think they were the two that went side by side. And round the outside goes Ellis Scott on Harris. Let's see where they come under the bridge. And Ellis Scott has got past Harris. So Harris down to 10th from, what was it, 8th on the grid?
Yeah, it certainly was. This is really, really interesting. So what we've seen now is the guys are starting to split up a little bit. But that's going to start, it's actually the natural order of things that kind of shook themselves up. And we're going to start seeing who can make up the time, who's actually faster than anyone else. And, you know, to see Philpott get that start where he did make contact with another driver, you know, he kind of moved over and he asserted his position a bit too soon, much to the disgruntlement of the driver behind him.
I think it was Jay Smith. Yeah, Jay Smith not happy with the start. He's actually lost out. He's down to 4th now. But overall, let's have a look, run down the order for you because we are missing a couple of big names out there. So Josh Nye in the lead, currently doing 31.3s. He's the fastest driver out there. Then you've got Thomas Krakowski, the reigning champion, in 2nd. Bradley Philpott 3rd. Jay Smith 4th. Martin Medlock in 5th place. Sean Brierley in 6th. Jonathan Elliott in 7th. Guy Jolly 8th. Ida Ellis Scott in 9th. And Paul Harris 10th.
I say Brierley and Elliott still coming together. So that's Brierley in the yellow helmet and Elliott in the pink and green helmet. They're still making quite a bit of contact with each other. But they are now coming up behind of Medlock.
It's Medlock, Martin.
Yeah, so Martin Medlock's now got these two drivers behind him, which is actually going to be a disadvantage for those two racing because the guy in the middle, Brierley, has got to attack and defend. And the likelihood is if Medlock lets one of them through, they'll both come through. So Medlock's got to keep his cool and keep them behind him for as long as he can.
Just have a look at the front. Thomas Krakowski's coming under pressure from Philpott as well. We've got two battles going on track. I'll try and keep my eyes on the front two, PJ.
I'll try and keep my eyes on these 7th to 10th positions.
Oh, look at that. Sean's got alongside, but Martin. And he's hit the barrier. Oh, he didn't back out, and Sean's hit the barrier, and it's got let Jai Golly through. And Paul Harris has got past Ira Scott. Chaos at the back. You can hear someone shouting up to the bridge. I don't want to repeat what I think he said, PJ.
But I don't either.
But let's have a look what the positions are as they cross the line, because I think that was Jonathan Elliott now who's behind Martin Medlock.
So I can say Thomas Krakowski's now even more pressure from Bradley Philpott. The gap's closed right up now. They're only quite literally 0.3 of a second between each other. So Thomas Krakowski can no longer concentrate on closing the gap down to Nye. And as you can see them coming down there, that's Thomas Krakowski, Philpott behind, and then the Lone Ranger just behind them is Smith. Smith's in the, I would love to be Smith's position right now because he's got the guys in front, so he's still got potential to win this race, but he's got plenty of space towards the chaos behind him.
And he can just focus on doing what he needs to do. He can catch them if he wants, or he can wait for them to mess up. A little bit of contact between Philpott and Krakowski there, but look at these at the back. There is battles happening all over the place. It's hard to keep up with because you got
Riley really lost out actually because Medlock's still in the position he was.
Yeah.
So Elliott's still where he was, but then Jolly's got past Riley.
We're being pointed in left, right, and left, right, and centre for Martin because there's so much happening on track. You got Philpott challenging for second position, but Sean Riley, Guy Jolly, Paul Harris, and Ira Ellis Scott, sorry, are at the back battling as well. We've got it's happening everywhere, PJ, and I'm not sure where to look if I'm honest.
No, it's a lot going on. I'm trying to learn all the names, all the colours of the helmets whilst watching all the various changes that are going on here. But kart 50 of Jolly is under pressure from Riley at the moment. So that's going to be interesting because we know Guy Jolly's a stock car racer.
We're still watching and look at the lead. For second place, Philpott trying to get alongside Thomas. And as they go into the first corner, Thomas is defending. He's defending with all his might, and this is why he's the reigning champion. Can Bradley Philpott get through? It's going to be interesting. We might have to cut away from the battle at the back because for second position, the reigning champion and Bradley Philpott, he's got a good run coming down under that bridge, you know. It might be there that he has a think about it. Thomas going wide and he's alongside.
Krakowski's not going to give him the space. He did give him the space actually.
He did.
Quite nice.
And Thomas very cleverly cut along on the inside there, and Philpott puts his hand up. Look where Jay is. What were we saying just 2 seconds ago? Jay is catching them all the time.
Absolutely. The closer Jay can get to Philpott, the more Thomas Krakowski can rest easy. And Bradley's actually signalling.
Bradley's signalling to Jay. Bradley is signalling to Jay. Just stay back and we'll attack them together.
And that's a very, very good little karting secret for anyone out there, working with your opposition to take someone else. But let's not forget Josh Nye out in front comfortably. 4.3 second lead.
Fastest lap of the race as well, PJ 31.1, so he's going to take the bonus point as well.
But Philpott's only got a few laps to make his move on Thomas Krakowski before Jay Smith starts to punish him again a little bit, trying to force him into doing something. And we can see Briley back here, he's making a move into the first corner.
We just caught the end of it. He's got through. He's past Sky Jolly. So that is for 7th position. So absolutely. Sean is coming back. We cut back to the action and Bradley Philpott trying to get alongside Thomas once again. Thomas defensive in the final corner. There's no room for Bradley to have a look.
So close now next to each other. He's waiting for Krakowski to move alongside so he can tuck up the inside, but Krakowski isn't moving. Philpott's giving him a little bit of a nudge.
A little bit of a nudge. And he's letting back through. He's letting through. Fair play from Bradley. Thomas is really defending well.
He put Philpott right in the firing line of Jay Smith now as they come down to the corkscrew. He's all over the back of him. Philpott's going to have to stop attacking now. He's asking Jay behind him to give him one more lap, 2 more laps just to attack. But unfortunately, I think Jay's patience has run out.
Jay's patience might have. Look at Thomas defending again. If Bradley can cut on the inside of him, coming on the exit, so a little bit wider, Bradley, and you get a good run up on Thomas, he's just going to stick to the inside because Jay's on the outside. And it's a battle for second. And look who's coming up. Martin Medlock. This is how much Thomas is defending. He's currently 1.4 seconds a lap slower than Josh Nye. And Josh Nye is so far ahead, he's gone. He is absolutely dominating out front because Philpott and Smith are attacking Thomas with all their might. Martin Medlock right behind them. 3 drivers are separated by 0.4 of a second, Peach.
This is turning out to be an absolutely amazing race.
Now we're not even halfway through, Peach. We're not even halfway through.
But with Medlock adding on to the pressure of this, it's going to be really changing things up because Philpott seems to be losing time off the back of Krakowski because Jay Smith is no longer holding back.
Thomas is gone. He knows that Jay's attacking Philpott now. The gap's opened up. The gap's open.
4/10 of a second between Tom and Philpott that last time around. So Krakowski's able to put then down through.
He must have made a mistake. He must have made a mistake, Peach, because he was much further away than that when he was coming up and over the bridge. Let's have a look then. Can Philpott make a late move? Thomas is on the outside. He's cut to the inside, and Philpott can't go nowhere. Medlock's made a bit of a mistake out wide at the back behind Jay Smith as well. Jay having a look over his shoulder, and still it remains Josh Nye leading. Thomas Krakowski as they come under the bridge. Where can Philpott get him? Who's in 3rd position? Then you've got Jay Smith. Then it's Martin Medlock in 5th. Jonathan Elliott is slowly closing them in as well in 6th position. Sean Briley in 7th. Guy Jolly 8th. Paul Harris 9th. And Ida Ellis Scott is still 10th and all over the back of Paul Harris.
I can say Jay there was forcing Philpott to go defensive into the first corner, which is quite interesting. So Philpott obviously sees that Jay is actually more of a threat to him than not being able to pass Kwiatkowski.
Bit of contact. He's backed Jay out. He's had to break early, and Jay's had to break, and Martin didn't see it, so there's a little bit of contact there, but no harm done. Bit of racing, unfortunately. And there's a bit of a gap now between Philpott and Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. So Smith now getting Medlock all over the back of him, which means he's got to concentrate on being defensive now. So that's given Philpott the chance to attack Kwiatkowski again. Fortunately for Kwiatkowski, who wasn't able to get a big enough gap for Philpott not to catch up with him. But let's not end up there, because Josh Knight's still quite far up. But then we've got Paul Harris. Paul Harris is still making some moves on Ellis Scott.
No,
there.
it was the other way around. Ellis Scott has got past Paul Harris there at some point. Joe's already on it. He's picked it up on it, but we're still watching the battle for second, third, fourth and fifth.
Yeah, Philpott ever closer, but he's staying around the outside line, hoping Kwiatkowski makes a mistake or runs too deep into a corner. But as we saw earlier, when Philpott, we seemingly gave him a bit of a nudge, Philpott recognised that he'd done that.
Philpott's watching over his shoulder as well. Sorry to interrupt, PJ, but he is
No,
really
so
feeling the pressure.
No, I don't blame you.
He's feeling the pressure, I think, because Jay Smith is all over the back of him. But Philpott is clearly quicker. His fastest time is a 31.2. Thomas is only 31.5, but they're currently running around near the 32-second mark, PJ. They're seriously being held up at the moment.
It's given Josh the ability to pull out an 8.5 second gap, though. So it's 8.5 seconds back to Josh from Josh to Tom. But now Kwiatkowski's only 0.2 of a second. Got 0.2 of a second gap to Philpott last time.
Oh, Philpott's through! Philpott through Jay! Look at Jay as well, he's alongside Philpott. What's it going to be under the bridge? Philpott leads, Thomas is lost out, and Jay's up on the inside into the final corner. And there's lots of contact. Martin's going to get through, Thomas is going to be squeezed out. We'll see what the marshals say about that, PJ.
Well, we got it on replay, so we're going to be able to re-watch that move as it happened. But that's given Bradley Philpott the breathing space he needs to start advancing on Josh. Unfortunately for him,
there's only 10 laps to go. There's only 10 laps to go, PJ. I don't know if there's going to be enough time. The gap's over 10 seconds.
Yeah, the gap's over 10 seconds. There's only a tenth of a second between their best lap times at the moment in Josh's favour. So Philpott's got a lot of work if he expects to get away. But let's not forget that he actually also let Smith through behind him. So Smith's now going to be putting some pressure on him. Hopefully, if he
look at Martin, he's going up the inside. Is he? No, he's a bit too far back for third position. But Thomas has dropped off the back of these. That's interesting to see.
So Philpott's last lap time actually was 31.245. His best lap time is 31.230. Compared to Josh Knight, that was 3/10 faster than Josh Knight over the last lap. So if he manages to keep that up, unfortunately, he's still not going to get past Josh.
He's not going to get quicker. But yeah, Martin Medlock is all over the back of Jay. Let's keep our eyes on this battle for third position, because as they come down into turn one, Martin Medlock has found some serious speed from somewhere. His fastest time compared to Smith, look at that, 31.1s from 4 drivers, and it's still Josh who's just holding on to that.
Yeah, so Thomas Kwiatkowski's now got to start watching Elliott, because I've noticed that Elliott, where are they on the circuit? So much going on.
Under the bridge.
Under the bridge. So there's Kwiatkowski in front and Elliott behind him. Elliott's actually gaining on Kwiatkowski. So Kwiatkowski's got to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake and feed it to someone else. Okay, I think we get back into the stream here. First call of action. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, there's a joke going on at the moment. Okay. So, let's have a look at the timing screens now.
Yeah, thanks, PJ. Josh Nye, 31.0. He's just gone and taken the fastest lap of the race again. He's up that level. Then we've got Philpott in second, who's just done the same, 30.9. It's the first sub-31 second we've had tonight, mate, in the race, and that is going to be a bonus point. He'll need that. Jay Smith is still in third. Thomas is now fourth. I don't know what's happened there. We've missed something, because Martin Medlock's dropped to fifth. Elliott is in sixth. Seventh is Sean Briley. He's all over the back of Elliott as well. Eighth is Guy Jolly. Ninth is Harris, and Ellis Scott in 10th. So within the laughter that we had here in the studio, we've missed an overtake between Thomas and Martin. I don't know what happened. Joe, do we have anything, mate? No, Joe's missed it as well, unfortunately.
Oh, these two are back at it. So the yellow helmet and orange helmet going into the first corner. Look at them go.
Yeah, so that's Sean in the yellow helmet.
And Briley and Elliott.
Sean Briley is in the yellow helmet, and Jonathan Elliott is in the pink and green helmet. And Elliott is having to defend, but watch for Guy Jolly behind. He's a stock car driver. If they start getting their elbows out, I'm sure Guy will know exactly what to do.
He's going over
look
the
at that!
inside.
Oh, well, that was a late move. I don't think that would have counted if he did get the position. We got 4 laps to go. Soon to be 3. Josh Nye still leads.
Yeah,
Let's
so
have a look. Where else have we got action on the track?
We're pretty much everywhere, Reno. We haven't got enough cameras or commentators to go on. I'm covering it all. So let's look back to these 3 guys here. So that is the Smith, Kogowski and Metlock.
Yeah, Smith is just ahead of Kukowski, who's now ahead of Metlock. Obviously, we've missed Martin losing out to Thomas. I'm not sure quite where that was. The gap between Elliott and Briley has opened up a slight bit, and so for Guy Jolly, we're going on to complete lap 28, and Paul Harris gets out of the way of Josh. In testing, they were only 0.2 of a second behind, but unfortunately, this occasion, they're a lap difference. Thomas is a lot quicker to Jay, and Sean is a lot quicker than Elliott as it stands. Here they go.
So Philpott has managed to reduce the gap down from 10 seconds, but only down to 8.8. And there's only 2 laps of this race remaining, so I do not think, unless Josh makes a mistake, that Philpott...
Just going to interrupt you, PJ, because Sean is all over the back of Jonathan once again. The battle for 6th and 7th is all over the place. And remember, we got 1 lap qualifying to come back after this, so it could be racing different people again. If the excitement is anything like this one, mate, I think I'm going to have a heart attack.
No, I think so too. It's been quite an exciting race so far. It's still not quite over yet. We've still got the Briley and Elliott battle going on, with Guy Jolly just behind them. So one mistake. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. He's alongside.
Car 39. Can he make his think he's getting pressured? He's got the line though.
He's got the line. He was already alongside, and Johnny Elliott shouldn't have turned in there. Sean Briley is through and up into 6th position.
No, that was good. It's good to see. But the checkered flag is now out, and that's fantastic news for Josh Nye.
We still got action happening with Sean and Jonathan under the bridge. They would just had a little bit of a contact. Look at Guy Jolly. We've got Bradley's crossed the line, Jay's crossed the line, Tom's crossed the line, Medlock's crossed the line. But it's going to be... Whoa, something's up. Whoa, oh, he's been done on the line. He's been done on the line.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Got him on the line.
He did it on the line.
He got him on the line. See, never give up. Cross that line. If you cross that checkered flag...
Well, there's something wrong with the car. I think he's signalling to the marshals. Something's wrong with that car. No, there was a bit of a contact, and let's have a look as he comes up the hill.
I can't see anything wrong with it.
I can't see. We'll have to have a look, PJ. We'll have to. There's going to be a small break happening between this and the 1 lap. We've got so many replays to go through. You want to grab Josh, pop him in the
room.
Briefing room again for me, PJ. So. PJ, just make sure that Josh holds the mic closer this time for us. Right, well, where do we start, Joe? So, let's have a quick look. Well, where do you want to start? Yeah, let's go from the start of the race, mate. Let's go from the start of the race. So, we're here. This is the start on the grid. Let's have a look then. What's going to happen? We got a good start. Obviously, Bradley did come across Jay, so that automatically let Thomas into the lead. I can't quite tell which one that is, but as you can see, it just a concertina effect at the back there. But Jay getting up into 4th ahead of I think it was Sean and Jonathan Elliott as well. Onto the second of the replays. Down at the corkscrew, that was Ira getting past up the inside of the corkscrew on Paul Harris. That was a very clean move. Paul just having to turn in at the last opportunity, otherwise he would have hit the wall. So come down, a bit more contact, but Ira gets the job done. Next replay then, because we've got an absolute list of them here. So I'm just trying to work out who that is. That's Medlock and Briley. And a lot of contact there. I think, again, you know, it is going to be a concertina where there's just not enough space for the drivers. But at the end of the day, I think it's a racing incident overall. No harm done there. The next one, up at turn 1 then. Let's have a look. So where are we looking? So this was in the chicane there. You just saw at the top of your screen. If Joe just wants to rewind that for you at home if you did miss it. It was a battle between... who was that? I think that was Jay and Sean, was it? Or Medlock and Sean. But yeah, basically Sean just ran out of road. It's not somewhere where you want to be going side by side. That's Norby going out just to test a couple of karts with Ash. Into the final corner we go for a replay. That was Ira just, nowhere near close enough. Lucky he gave the position back, and Paul sensibly just taking the position back. The next one, this is turn 1 and the chicane. So that's Bradley Philpott going through there. That's Sean going up the side of Guy. So that might have been Jonathan Elliott, not Bradley Philpott. Very similar in terms of the kart helmet design from this angle. Next replay. That's Sean. That's Guy. So this might be Paul Harris and Ira. Ira getting up the inside of Paul. Yeah, job done. Lick it and send it. It's good effort. And up the inside. So the next one we got. Under the bridge. Coming into the final corner. Let's have a look who it is. So this was Jay on Thomas. Well, I think Jay was already alongside, but Thomas, well, I think at the end of that, don't worry. At the end of that, I think it was, I think Martin just took the advantage, but just didn't give enough room for Thomas. Not to worry, Joe. Let's go on to the next one for you. So this is into the hairpin at the top. We call it the corkscrew. And okay, well, let's go back a second, Joe. Let's just go back a second for the viewers at home. Was Bradley in a position where he was alongside Thomas? So, well, he has got his nose alongside in the braking zone. So Thomas did turn in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Bradley's got nowhere to go when Thomas starts turning in. Bradley's nose was just about there, and that forces obviously Thomas wide, lets Jay through, and obviously we see what happened later on with Jay and Martin getting past him as well. What else have we got then, Joe? Because there was a lot of action in that race. So this is down at turn 1. And I think, is that... Oh, it's a spin. So that's how Paul got back past Ira. Well, that's why Joe found it and not us. But yeah, poor Ira did a great move to get past and then threw it away at turn 1. Let's have a look and see if PJ is ready. So PJ, let's have a look where you are. Hello, PJ. I can see you waving.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm actually here with Bradley and Josh. So, would you be able to queue up the replay of the first lap of the race? Is that possible to do, Joe?
Yeah,
just so we can get Bradley's input on it, because it was quite interesting. Kogowski seemed to get a really, really good start there, and I would like to get Bradley in front of the camera with a microphone and just talk us through it. Actually,
so we can't see particularly clearly just yet, but from my point of view, I was angled across to the left to try and get straight to the inside. I got a good start, but there was already a car halfway alongside me by the time I got to the inside, and Thomas, I think it was, just drove clean around the outside. I think he was level with the front of me by the time we even got to the start line, so he got a rocket start. Yeah,
that was a really good start, and obviously I said to you that Kogowski's last year's champion, and that doesn't surprise you, I don't think.
No, not at all. He knows his way around here, and in fact I'd sat behind him for quite a number of laps, and he knew how to defend as well.
Absolutely. So we did actually see your overtake on him down into corkscrew. Now we were watching it as the viewers at home were watching it, and we all agreed in this room, even Josh, who's probably your biggest competitor, that you were alongside him.
Well, by the time we got to the corner, there was definitely a kart width left on the inside, and I went for it. It was really my best chance of the race up to that point. And Thomas decided to squeeze, but it was a bit too late to squeeze. He was slamming the barn door after the horse had bolted, I think that's the phrase. So I think it actually looked a little worse on the camera than it actually was, because Thomas didn't didn't give me very much room. So we ended up squeezing through there in a bunch. So I think he actually lost out more than he would have done.
He did, because it gave Jay Smith the opportunity to actually come down the inside of him. So I don't know, Joe, if we can get that replay up just so we can see it.
PJ, we're just waiting to find it now for you. We did see it earlier, so we're just trying to find it. We hope it's this one now.
Fingers
where
crossed.
Is it?
Otherwise we can slag someone else's racing off at the moment. Let's have a look. Let's see if it's coming up now. It might be there.
Give us 2 seconds, mate. Give us 2 seconds.
Give you 2 seconds. So, Bradley, Josh obviously got quite a good start there, and we were talking about Kwiatkowski's start. We've got another qualifying session. Do you think it will be as close as it was last time round, or are you going to hopefully have found something in that last race?
I hope it's as close, but just the other way around. It was just a couple of hundredths the wrong way for me that time. He did a great lap, so I knew he would probably be the favourite for that race, just driving away from pole, and my job was going to be to try and hold on to second and then maybe reel him in later. But by the time I got back up to second later in the race, there was just no time, and he was a long way gone. Yeah,
because you did start to lap a little bit quicker than Josh actually, and you went down from a 10-second gap from when you got clear air down to an 8.8. Unfortunately, I think by that point we had about 8 laps left,
sorry
so
to
there wasn't just that much.
interrupt.
Yep, go ahead, Reno.
Yeah, we've actually found it. We found it. So if you want to look at the screens, it's
excellent.
the
Let's have a look at the screen. So take us through this, Bradley.
Okay, so I got a really good exit to the chicane at the bottom of the straight. I was right on Thomas's bumper, and I moved to the inside. So I've got a little bit of an overlap, and then he turned in very early. But from my point of view, I'm driving in a straight line, and then a wedge is suddenly presented as Thomas tries to come across in front of me. But it was a late move, but it has to be because you're braking late at the end of a long straight. But I was definitely there, so I'm happy from watching the replay. It was pretty hard. It's probably on the limit of what's fair, but I think, of course I'm going to think this, but I think that was a fair move. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, and the marshals hadn't a problem with it, and we haven't got a problem with it. So yeah, more like that in the next race if you can, Bradley.
Good marshalling.
Perfect. If you want to pass it over to the winner, young Josh. So you did just manage to pit Bradley in qualifying, and you got a really good start. Obviously, Bradley was under a little bit of pressure there from Thomas Kwiatkowski on the initial start. How much do you have to thank Thomas Kwiatkowski for holding Philpott up, do you think?
Yeah, I think had Thomas have not held him up at the start, it would have been a job to defend from him, because towards the end of the race he was going quicker than me, so I'd have been on the defensive line the whole way around the lap, going even slower. So yeah, I think there was a chance I could have still won, but it was definitely helped a lot by Thomas getting through.
So we've got another one-lap qualifying session to go. So how are your arms feeling? How are you feeling physically? Do you think you can keep that momentum and that pace up?
Yeah, my arms are starting to go towards the end, but I think I should be all right for the next session.
Excellent. We've got a little bit of a break before we go into that qualifying session, so a little bit of time for the drivers to have a quick drink, a lollipop. I think that seems to be the weirdest thing that guys around here do. They all have a lollipop between sessions. It works for us in the commentary box, so I can't complain too much. So I'll hand back to Reno, probably just give you a little bit of a summary of the results, and then we'll cut to a bit of an advert, and then we'll be back for the second one-lap qualifying session of the night.
Well, thank you very much, PJ. So yeah, we're going to get back going with the one-lap qualifying in just a second. We're going to have a short break up here in the commentary booth. The marshals have got some information to tell me about some of the karts, so I'm going to have a quick chat with them and see what's going on. So we're going to cut to a very short break, so we'll be back very shortly.
Hello and welcome back. So we now have another one-lap qualifying session to go. So those races and those point-scoring races, it's kind of starting from scratch again now. So the driver's got to go back out, re-qualify. It's going to be really interesting to see if any of the drivers from the second race or the second race actually swap over. So that's going to be quite interesting. I'm going to get Reno back on the mic in a second because I'm going to probably grab Thomas Krakowski, our last year's champion, just to see how he feels that the race has gone on for him tonight. But the drivers, again, going to be weighted up, put in their carts, and we're going through that one-lap qualifier. So the only person to make a mistake through the one-lap qualifying was Alan Kiddle. So hopefully he's got that under control. He understands it a little bit better this time. So, Reno, your thoughts on that last race?
Crazy. If I had to sum it up in one word, absolutely crazy, because there was action happening absolutely everywhere, mate. And, yeah, I can't imagine... Well, I could imagine, but I'm hoping there's a race like that again. Yeah, it's hard to gauge what's going to happen in this next race with who's actually going to be in it or not. You know, one lap qualifying can, as we see, spring a surprise. You know, you had some people like George Macy who were expecting, or Ricky Cahill, for example, who were expecting in the top 10, didn't quite get there for the top 10. So without them sort of drivers, I mean, we could be looking into the unknown there, PJ.
Well, absolutely. So I'm going to go run and grab Thomas Krakowski. So whilst I'm doing that, I think it's only proper that we talk about the dyno again, actually.
Oh, yeah, dyno.
And probably anything else that we've got going on. So obviously we've got the discounts for in-week karting and things we can have a little chat about. And then hopefully I'll have Krakowski in front of the camera. I know he's a man of few words, so I'm going to see what I can do. He's very much the Raikkonen of Corby.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's been to the bathroom and he's not here just for ice cream, but we'll see. So, yeah, tell them all about the dyno, Reno.
So the dyno then. We do 3 for 2 on pizzas and... sorry, we don't do 3 for 2. We do 2 pizzas for £15 with a large fries. That's always a big incentive, you know. 2 pizzas on their own will cost you nearly 20 quid. And, you know, they aren't small. They're 14-inch pizzas. So yeah, definitely keep them going. We got 3 for 2 on offer on a Friday between 5 and 7. It's called Happy Hour here. Everyone loves Happy Hour aboard. So yeah, let's get yourself down here as well. The diner deal where it's 2 pizzas for £15 with your large fries, that is actually on Thursdays. So any Thursday evening, get yourself down, and we will sort that out for you. Right, let's have a look. PJ looks ready to me. So PJ, across to you with reigning champion Thomas Krakowski.
Absolutely, I am here with the reigning champion Thomas Krakowski, who got a fantastic start actually. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So, how did you get that such an amazing start?
It was just lucky that they fight. I just take this place and just go.
Excellent. I don't know if we can actually get a replay up of that at the moment, Reed. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if Joe's in there, the replay man's in there. But we can actually have a quick look at your start.
PJ, at the moment it's not available. Joe's just on the Twitch account. He's just about to have a look at it for us. Is it the same one we saw with Bradley Philpott?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same start. So it's the same one there. So it says Thomas Krakowski is quite a long start. So you kept Philpott behind you for quite a way. Did you find that racing against someone like Philpott to be quite challenging?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but start was lucky and there was very hard to keep position. I'm not sure, probably this was some problem with clutch. And it was really hard to keep position and opponent take this. I think it was a little bit foul, but it's just a race.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get that up for us to have a look at the moment. But I know that the carts, obviously, through this race, they get quite hot. Clutches get hot, especially with a lot of starts that we do. So now the carts have had the time to cool down. Hopefully that clutch
PJ,
will be
we've got it
better
for you.
We've got it. Excellent. So I'm losing my headphones. So we can see the start here, top left-hand corner, and we've got Josh over on the right-hand side. Now you're starting in 4th place for this one. So we can see Philpott, he's just turned in there to get the start. Now he moves straight across the track once the replay starts, which is any moment now. We can see the marshals just getting off the circuit, just skipping through. We're going backwards a little bit. Let's see if we can speed it up in the opposite direction, Joe, if you can. Here we go. It is happening. The replay.
Almost.
Almost there.
Yeah, normally it's good to keep left side.
Let's
But
have
there was
I would say,
and fight, and I must.
so look, there, Philpott moves across, and you have got such a good start. There you are, slotting straight into second place. That was a really, really good
A
start.
lot of lucky.
It was a lot, but it's also, you know the course quite well. You did a lot of the races last year. You won the championship, so we kind of expect you to know these things. So, going into one lap qualifying, do you think you can improve on your last time in qualifying?
Qualify here is, I think for me hard, very hard. This track is sleepy. I was here a long time ago. That's not too easy.
Not too easy. Well, we're going to hand back to you in the commentary box. I'm going to let Thomas get back into his frame of mind and get ready for this qualifying session. So hopefully we'll see you a bit further up, finishing position this time round. Who knows? But back to you, Reno, and I'm looking forward to start this qualifying session.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, well, yeah, we're back. Thank you very much, PJ and Thomas there. We have obviously got one lap qualifying coming up for you. So interesting to hear Thomas saying he felt like the clutch was on its way. Like PJ did say, the karts do get very hot and they have been running all day. So hopefully it's just an overheating issue rather than an actual mechanical issue. We'll have a quick look into it all for you anyway. I think the boys were looking into it in between the session. We were just saying there, PJ, that obviously it was weird to hear Thomas saying that his clutch could be on its way out. I've just, like you said, though, it could be overheating. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I genuinely think it's actually more of an overheating issue. You tend to find if a lot of drivers tend to rub the brake pedal before they put, they keep the foot on the accelerator and they rub that brake pedal, it does actually overwork and overheat the clutch. So if you're generally keeping quite a good average speed around the circuit, the clutch, engaging, disengaging of the clutch happens normally only in 1 to 2 parts of the circuit. I tend to find if I find or feel that clutch is overheating, I tend not to lock my rears as much, so that there's a continual rotation of the rear axle, rather than it coming to a stop, clutch disengaging, and having to re-engage again. So there are tactics you can do to make a kart last. This is a sprint series, but in endurance racing, it's not about being the fastest person on the circuit. It's a combination of a lot of different things, and one of those is making sure that you can maintain your kart and ensure that it can survive the length of a race. And a 30-lap race round here, it doesn't seem very long, but it's 15, at least 15 minutes.
And the rest, PJ, we've got the start as well. They're normally about 5-6 seconds off the pace, so you're probably looking about 16, 17 minutes. And okay, we call it the sprint series, but like you said, it can be. You got to. Some people come into it thinking more of an endurance. It is a long old time on circuit, 30 laps.
Well, Josh Nye was saying that he felt that his arms were beginning to suffer towards the end of that 30-lap race, and he wasn't sure whether or not if Philpott was close behind him, whether he would have been able to hold him there, because obviously there being a bit more of a racer, Bradley, he's probably used to the lower arm workout, so that's not too much of a stress for him. So drivers at the moment, the first driver's heading out on the course, so the pink and green helmet. Now I recognise
that's Jonathan Elliott. Is it Jonathan Elliott? Or let's have a look.
Well, we'll see his name ping up on that particular screen that we're looking at as he crosses the line. I believe it is
Jonathan Elliott. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the helmets, PJ. We've got one lap qualifying once again. Jonathan Elliott, the first out on circuit then. So as he comes across the line, let's see what he can do. First starting his first lap.
And it was Elliott, you were right.
Through the chicane.
Good start so far, nice into that first corner, not quite the Philpott line that we've been seeing from a few of the drivers. As he comes up past us, a nice little jump as he comes onto here and down through the course. Is he going to take that narrow line? He does take a narrow entry, but quite a mid on the out, which is a line I much prefer. And we see him come through there on the exit of the tunnel quite quick.
He tried to jump there to try and give himself a bit more traction, bogging down a little bit. Yet you can see him trying to jump across the line. And it's a 31.933, so I think that's a bit quicker than what he did last time. I think he did a 32, so that's not bad at going at all. Now we've got Tom Watson coming through, slowing right down before the final corner, trying to get himself a good exit, and down the straight he comes. He's in kart 42. Start of the fast lap then for Watson. Through the first corner, he's a bit wide, PJ, through the chicane as well, and up over Damon Hill. What can he do?
Say Damon Hill not being the last winner of Williams World Championship, as we've learned this evening. Still, we're not going to rename the hill the Jacques Villeneuve Hill, because that just won't make sense at all.
It won't make sense at all. I mean, we could have Graham Hill or Phil Hill after other world champions, but I think Damon Hill's much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually met him before, so I think we should keep that name. So that he's crossed the line there.
It wasn't a quick time from Watson there, 33.0. So yeah, not the greatest of laps. I don't know if he'll well, I mean, we could see it anyway, but here comes Max Cox across the start-finish line to start his fastest lap through the first corner. A lot of tyre squeak, not the worst. Through the chicane he goes. Cox obviously started in the second grid, so the first race we had today. Through the corkscrew he comes, back under the bridge and into the hairpin under the bridge now. And as he comes through a bit, hopping through there and into the final corner he comes through. Oh, he missed his apex and slid awfully on the exit. Across the line comes Max. And
it's a 33.3.
PJ, they've all started to slow down. This is Tomasz Krakowski, I believe.
It certainly looks
like
it. In kart 12, we'll see as he comes across the line. So
here he is.
It is Tom on the screen, but his surname Krakowski. So we watch him as he goes through that first part of the circuit, that first corner. A little bit wide, missing the apex of one of those chicanes, but nothing too major so far. As he comes up and over and then down towards the corkscrew. So he takes that.
He did take a narrow line that time. That's interesting to see from Tomasz.
It certainly looked a little bit faster through the chicane than the previous drivers in this session, using all the track on the exit under the tunnel, and then really, really good last corner there. So let's hope he can hold it. A lot of the drivers have tucked into this wall, and I personally don't think it's the right way to do it. But
he's only just gone quicker than Elliott, though, 17 thousandths quicker, 31.916 for Tomasz Krakowski.
Thomas Krakowski said the track's getting a bit cooler now as well, so it's going to be really interesting. So now we start watching
Michael Poyner is coming through across the line through first corner and into the chicane. Oh, he's messed up big time. That's going to cost him a lot of time for Michael Poyner. He's got sideways going through the chicane. That's not going to help him at all as he comes through across the corkscrew and under the bridge. It's a decent lap corner from that point of view, but he has ruined this lap already. Hopefully it's not that bad, but messing up the corkscrew, the chicane, PJ, it doesn't help the whole lap.
It's quite a slow section of the circuit, so any time lost through there is quite damaging, and you can see that in his lap time. That's a 34.240, so I know he'll be disappointed with that, but that was a little bit of overspeed in the first part of that chicane. But don't worry, we've got another driver now starting his lap, so let's have a little watch.
George Macy, or Massey, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, you'll have to correct us, George, coming through the first corner chicane. Wasn't the greatest through the chicane either, if I'm honest. He's getting his head tucked down and into the corkscrew now on that inside line, and then round under the bridge and into the final part of the lap.
He seemed to run a bit wide there, didn't he, on the miss the apex, but that may be a bit of an advantage. Not every corner you have to hit the apex. He's run quite wide in the final corner as he comes down, tucking his head under as he goes underneath the line, and that actually moves him a little bit further up. So Macy now is 32.957. A little bit of an improvement, so that puts him third currently. But we have got the next drive, and I believe this is Kiddle. But I recognise the helmet there.
Across the line he comes and down into the first corner.
So he was at the back of the first race, which was the second group. Quite confusing, and that was only because of his qualifying mistake. So one, we're watching for lap time, and two, we're making sure that he doesn't mess this qualifying session up. So we'll watch him as he comes down through the corkscrew, runs a little bit wide on entry and wide through the whole thing. So he's extended his lap by a metre or two there. So that may have cost him half a second to a second. But we'll see how he finishes the lap there, round through the final corner. Relatively tidy, bit wide on exit, but nothing to be too worried about. He crosses the line, and that's actually put him above Cox and Poyner with a 33.221. So, not a terrible time actually from Kiddle, and hopefully if he pits in this next lap, he'll be able to keep that time. So we've got another driver now, kart 50, about to cross the line, and that is the driver Ellis Scott. So he had a few little tussles. He's ran a little. He had a bit of oversteer on the exit of that first corner, so that's going to slow him down a little bit. But slowing down on the start part of that, on the exit of the corner, isn't as bad as people make out, because
there's
that
a lot
chicane.
Of corners, a lot of corners. You're right, PJ. As he comes through under the bridge, the exit's important through here, and also on the final corner, quite hoppy through there. maybe taking a little bit too much speed. Decent exit, not the quickest we've seen. Let's see what he can do. Across the line he comes, and he goes third on a 32.738, about 8/10 off of Elliott and Thomas.
Yeah, so we're looking at lap times kind of 1 second shy of where they were before. So the track's definitely cooling down. The drivers are beginning to have a bit of fatigue as well. So Rajkani is now out for his 1 lap qualifying session. So there we see him hit the apex of the corner quite nicely. Keeps it tidy through the first part and second part and third part of the chicane as he comes up past the commentary box.
That's nice and tidy through there, up and on Damon Hill and under into the corkscrew then.
He's run really wide on that, but he's carried a lot of speed down.
Good
so
exit on that one.
That's not too bad as he comes out through here. Ran wide, missed the apex a little bit, but he was on the edge of grip. You just heard the tyres squeaking then. So he takes quite an odd line through that final corner, which I think is where he's losing most of his time. So let's watch as he crosses the line to see what that actually translated into. So Fast and Poignant, that's a 33.424. So not the slowest out there, but certainly 1.5 seconds off last year's champion. Thomas Kwiatkowski still up there in pole position. But let's not hold back, because Guy Jolly, I believe that, I recognise the helmet. Yep, he's out. He's going into the first corner. Lovely, slight a foot off the apex, but that's looking like the line to do with this new layout. So he's up Damon Hill at the moment, very, very tidy through the chicane, and he comes down to the corkscrew. Now, what line is he going to run through here? So it's medium entry, medium exit, a little bit wide. He lost a bit of traction as he came down the corkscrew, pushed him wide a little bit, but nothing should cost him too much, maybe a 10th or 2 here or there. Nice break, late braking into that last corner. Really good line, uses all the track on the exit and then keeps the car, allowing it to run wide, which I think is better than doing it. So let's put him up to third. That's a 32.374. So that's still, 0.5 a second, 0.458 if you want to get technical about it, from Kwiatkowski, but that's still a good setting. Now, here we go for Philpott. So Philpott's crossing the line now and he's coming into the final first corner. So let's have a look as he goes in. It's quite a close one. He's kind of adapted the line that a lot of the regulars do through there now, rather than
very quick through the chicane. PJ, it looks smart and tidy as he goes up Damon Hill and down into the corkscrew as well. He does that narrow line and down the hill he comes. And is he coming under the bridge as well? He's not hopping either. It's a good exit. This could be pole position, PJ. Let's just watch out.
Really, really good last corner there as well, actually.
Yep. And across the line he comes, gets his head down, and we expect him to go top. He does. 31.5 dead.
So next on the way, I believe, is Jay Smith. So he's now about to cross the line to start his lap. He's run quite wide on the final corner, but that's given him a good run onto the start-finish line. So as he comes down now into the first corner, took the Philpott medium entrance in. He missed the apex a little bit.
Yeah, got a bit wide on exit there. He's going to scrub some speed up, but he looked good through the last part of the chicane. Middle of the circuit down the Damon Hill and into the corkscrew he goes. Down the ramp and under the bridge he goes.
Yeah, so quite a wide entry actually into the corkscrew, but it doesn't seem to have affected him too much. And like around the final corner, he's another one of these drivers that misses the apex of that corner. Maybe missing the apex means he carries some more speed through, and it's done him quite well there. It's put him up into fourth place. That's a 32.126. So 6/10 off Philpott there, but only 2/10 off last year's champion Kwiatkowski. So is this Mr. Nye?
It is Mr. Nye, PJ. Watch out for him. He's already got the 2 bonus points from race 1. Across the line he goes, and into the first corner now. Takes the sweeping line that all the marshals do as well. Into the chicane he goes. It looks pretty good at the moment. Good exit up onto Damon Hill. Across the bridge he goes, and down into the corkscrew. Will he do the wide line? He certainly does. He cuts back quite well. A little bit wide on exit. Hasn't cost him too much, I don't think. Under the bridge. And it's a decent exit, a little bit of bumping on the exit, maybe a little bit too fast. Into the final corner he comes, a good exit, nice and wide.
Really
Cross
good.
the start, finish line, what's it going to be? Second.
Oh, he lost quite a bit of time to Philpott there. So in comparison to last time, there were only a few hundredths of a second out. There's a few tenths in it this time, but that's still not a bad showing. It's going to put him on the right-hand side. And we saw that Thomas Kwiatkowski actually started in fourth. So that's 2 rows back on the right-hand side. It didn't seem to affect him. But so we're getting on to Preston now.
Yeah, Adam Preston starts his lap. We saw him in the second grid, so the first race of the night we had. The slower driver, let's see what he can do as he comes through the corkscrew, takes the narrow line, down the ramp he goes, and under the bridge as well. Let's see, very bumpy through there, PJ. As he comes through into the final corner, he's mid corner oversteer there, and across the line. Where does he go? Goes up quite a bit though, 10th position, 33.0. So he out-qualifies Kiddle, Cox, Rajkani and Poyner. Well, Cox was a lot quicker than him in the race the last time round.
It was indeed. So I believe this driver's name and is Pryor, so we're going to watch him come into first corner. Quite wide entry, wide in. He does manage to get the apex, but I think he's lost a few tenths just on a little bit of a sloppy first corner there. But we'll watch him as he comes through. He sticks to the right-hand side to get a nice wide line into the corkscrew. So wide in, relatively tight out, but then he's over to the left-hand side of the circuit, or right, as you see it on our screens. Quite a good exit on there. You can see the kart cocking a wheel as it comes through and round through the final corner. So that's another wide corner, final corner taker. That might help him with speed over the line. But that only pushes him up. Where does it push him? It actually puts him in 8th place. It's 32.775.
Yeah, 32.775. Not a bad time at all.
No,
we've got Paul Harris coming now. Can he show us what he's made of with this qualifying lap?
I'm certain he'll be happy with whatever he gets.
Yeah,
He's
always happy. So as he comes through the first corner, it looked quite neat and tidy. The chicane looks tidy as well. Decent run up on the bridge over Damon Hill and over the bridge. Going down into the corkscrew once more. And it takes a wider line. Good exit though. Little bit of oversteer on the exit actually, which won't have helped him too much. Good exit under the bridge though. And into the final corner we go.
Yeah, it's quite a nice final corner actually. He's one of the people that hits the apex, uses all the track on the exit. He's going to cross the line there, and it's put him actually up in 7th place with 32.506. So it's 1 second off Philpott up front, but only 7 points behind Tom Skagowski. So the top three at the moment, Philpott 9 and Tom Skagowski, separated him by 0.4 of a second. But
here comes Chambers.
We've got Chambers coming out now. So he's taken the Philpott medium line in, missed the apex a little bit, ran wide, but he clipped the barrier there a little bit at the rear end.
Went too wide on the exit turn one, caused it compromised his chicane, but let's see where he can qualify.
Quite nice through the corkscrew. They looked like he carried quite a bit of speed, but let's see just how he manages to hold together the rest of this lap. So through the final corner, he's quite on the apex there. He slid a little bit into the corner, but that's not necessarily too damaging. Hugs that tighter line on the inside.
And he actually goes 6th, PJ. That's a quick time. 32.216 for Dan Chambers.
Yeah, that's nice. And we can't rest on our laurels just yet because we have got, is that our man, not Kiddle?
Cahill.
Cahill, there we go. I knew it again with a C or a K. With a curly...
Inside line there, PJ. That's interesting. Not taking a wide line. Didn't actually compromise him too much, but I don't think it'll be the quicker lap time that we've seen. I could be proved wrong though. Over the Damon Hill and over the bridge into the corkscrew. Down the ramp he comes. That was pretty tidy. And under the bridge he comes now. Through the bridge corner and onto the final corner. Bit slow on the entry, do you think, PJ?
Entry,
it looked a bit slow. Across the line he comes, and he moves up to 8th position. Out-qualifies Paul Harris on a 32.446. Now, let's have a look who's coming through. I think it is Martin Medlock who's coming through this time round. Across the line he goes. He does wait a long time to come back over to the side of the track. Gets that swing through. Not a bad lap at all. Joe thinks that was a good one. And up and over the bridge he comes. And down into the corkscrew. What line is he going to take? He takes the Marshall line. Little bit of a jump as he comes down the bridge, and under the bridge he comes. Good exit as well. This could be a quick lap, PJ, but we've said that before, and it's not turned out to be quicker.
Yes, really, it's great to see a really different, wide variety of the way that people take certain corners. So seeing their actual times come.
What a lap. He's only 2/10 off Philpott, 31.794, PJ. We said it would be quick.
We did indeed, and that is ahead of Josh Nye and Thomas Kagowski, so that's a bit of an eye-opener for those boys to see those guys. So next driver out on circuit
is Brierley, I believe, PJ, the bright yellow helmet.
Absolutely, and now he had quite a race last time out, so let's see if his performance in his qualifying session can kind of spare him the mid-pack chaos and get him starting up a little bit closer to the guys he's come here to race with today, which is Philpott and a few other guys that he's with. So we see him entering the last corner.
There's a decent exit, you know. I think if he can keep it going, across the line he comes.
Oh.
And where is he gone? He's gone 6th, 32.069. So as it stands, as he was the last driver, in fact, PJ, to cross the line, that is our grid. So let's run through it then. we've got Philpott on pole position, and the bonus 2 points goes to him on a 31.5. Medlock second. Josh and I, race 1 winner in third. Thomas Krakowski fourth. Watch out for him. He started fourth last time. Then it's Elliott and Brierley. We could be seeing some fireworks again from there. Smith starts 7th, so he was down from 3rd. Chambers is in 8th. Guy Jolly 9th. And Ricky Cahill does qualify in the top 10 and pushes Paul Harris down into 11th place. Ira Ellis Scott does start on the front row of the slower group. Then it's Phil Pryor. George Macy drops down a little bit, and Watson starts 15th. Preston and Kiddle, followed by Cox, who's dropped significantly there, PJ, and there's Raj Carney and Poyner on the back row.
Absolutely, and that's nice to see Kiddle actually, kind of profit from his time in qualifying. So, as last time he started at the back of the grid, he's now, remember, let's not forget, he actually moved up quite a few positions in that race.
He did, yeah.
A really, really good start from him, certainly around the first corner.
Yeah, watch out for him in that race. I mean, he started 10th, finished 5th in that first race, so 20th and 15th if you wanna go officially. But he's going to start in 7th on this first grid. Followed by alongside Cox, actually, and he had a good race last time. So let's just see how they get on this one. So the first race is always the slower drivers, points 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Obviously the extra bonus point if it counts. Harris and Ira, so the two that were 9th and 10th in the first race, PJ, are now starting 11th and 12th effectively in the second race. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is, because we said Ira's really, really quick along one lap. Maybe his racing experience isn't quite as much as the people around him. So it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see where he can. He's got Harris in front of him, and Harris. Well, we all know he's happy with everything that he gets, but he's going to have a lot of pressure on, especially from Pryor and Macy behind. These guys had quite a good showing last time round. And let's have a look. So Harris starts with a 32.506. So we look down, it's just a second, half a second that splits him down to Watson there in 15th place on our screen, so that will be 4th place.
And Preston in as well, PJ. He's a 1.590 behind Philpott on pole, so yeah, even he's in that group as well.
So Cahill, he did a 32.446, and then the leader of the next race. So Harris's points are capped at 5 points here, but the only difference between their lap time was
it's less than a tenth.
Yeah, half a tenth.
Yeah.
There. So that's interesting. Half a tenth can make the difference between a possible full set of points to maximum 5. So you've really got to make sure you don't mess it up. But the gap we've seen actually in this qualifying session, is a lot larger. Even if you take out
Poyner's mistake, yeah. I mean, it's 1.9 seconds the gap, so a couple of tenths bigger this time round. Obviously, fatigue is a lot later in the day as well. The temperature's starting to drop. Track conditions are changing. So yeah, there's a whole different variety, and like we said at the beginning, track position when it comes to the one lap qualified hasn't really shown that the later drivers are going quicker, PJ. It does seem to be all down to driver error at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. As I said it when we did the Junior League. It's that one lap qualifying. The preparation on your out lap's really, really important. Getting the heat into the tyres, heat into the brakes, and as we've seen, a few people mentioning clutches and things. You've got to make sure that you're not overheating that clutch. If you are compressing the brake pedal and the accelerator at the same time, although we do have a double pedalling system, it may, there still is that kind of overhang between the two. So
yeah, it doesn't come in until you really engage the brakes fully. There is a bit of play between the two, so you have to make sure you're not leaning on the brakes, PJ.
Absolutely, and when you tend to find people rest their foot on the top of the brake pedal, and as they're going over bumps, they're compressing it slightly. Now, when I race, it hurts. I keep my foot back. I physically hold my foot back to ensure it doesn't rest on the brake pedal, to ensure it's not actually rubbing on the brake and slowing me down. Now, some of these drivers will find that maybe after the next race. If they do find that there's that deficit there, they may look into making sure they don't have their foot resting on the brake pedal. Some people like it to be a little bit closer, so when they do need to get on it, there's not that much travel to go before they make contact with the brake pedal. But all these little things do make a difference, and it's 30 laps, as we saw when we were commentating. A lot happens in that time. And
a lot happens, PJ, and hopefully a lot happen again now. As you can see, the drivers are getting ready for the slower race, shall we say. Grid positions 11 to 20. We'll just run through that again for you. It's Harris, followed by Ellis Scott, and then behind him is Pryor. Then it's Massey. Then it's Watson.
Then it's Preston there, Alan Preston, and then followed by Alan Kiddle, who's actually in kart 39. So Coxey did quite well in the first set of races, is starting third from the back in kart 50, and Raj Carney has managed to jump Poigneur a little bit because of his mistake. So that's going to be interesting to see if Poigneur can actually get past him on that start. And we've seen some interesting starts so far tonight. So I always said being on the inside is better, but we saw Thomas Kogowski really profit from being on the outside.
I think for most of the time, I think I'd agree with you there, PJ. I think I'd stay on the inside as much as I can. I'd want to be positions 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9 if I had to pick. But Thomas Krakowski proving us all wrong with 4th position and going right up to 2nd round the outside of Philpott. Obviously Philpott did have his car angled, and obviously, you know, when you turn the wheel on a go-kart, there's no differential. It's going to scrub speed off.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, any resistance that you get through the kart, so you know, rubbing against a barrier, that will slow you down. Turning, you know, a lot of people exit the final corner, and I've seen a lot of them run wide, and then rather than letting the kart go out straight and run wide onto the start-finish straight, they're chucking it into the wall. Yeah. And personally speaking, I don't think that's the quickest way to do it. Now, you know, unless I'm going to go out there and race against them, I can't tell them that they're wrong, because...
Well, you're quicker than me at the moment, PJ, so I'll have to take your word for it over mine, because at the moment everyone's showing me up.
Well, absolutely. So we can see Paul Harris lining up there in first place if we cut to the grid camera, with our marshals just getting them all into position to make sure that they're sat exactly where they are. Paul Harris has just rolled forward a little bit, but we'll be keeping an eye just before we start to make sure everyone is in their correct position. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what these guys can do. It's going to be quite a hectic first corner, no doubt. So I want to make sure that we've got the replay ready to go on the system. And then once the replay's gone, they kind of come through. We can look. So the lights are yellow, lights are red, and it's lights out, away we go. So Paul Harris has made a really, really good start there. The guy from the right-hand side is moving across the circuit. Relatively all clean here at the moment. Some side-by-side action towards the rear, but generally quite well behaved through there. There are some guys going side by side through the chicane. It doesn't work through that chicane, but they sort themselves out eventually. Another 2 carts side by side. I think Raj Carney's been jumped a little bit through there. Let's have a quick look. So there's some overtaking going through the corkscrew at the moment.
Trying to work out who it is, PJ. I've lost all my bearings here. So there's Alan Kiddle, Michael Raj Carney, and I think it was Poigneur.
Yeah, so the top 4 there are breaking away a little bit. So that is Harris, Ellis, Scott. There's some more contact going on between the gentleman in the Tony Kart suit and the guys behind him. So kart 48 is getting mugged off a little bit. That's Preston, Watson and Macy all together there. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch, because these back guys are all bunched up there behind. So that's still kart 48 of Preston. Let's see, as he comes through now, there's a bit of contact as we come out of the tunnel, the bridge there.
Yeah, a lot of people losing traction. I've missed that. I think a lot of people went sideways trying to avoid people, but out in front they're starting to pull away, and it's kart 48, which is Preston, who's holding them up. Up the inside looking Max Cook, but he can't get through.
So yeah, say kart 48's got a lot of pressure at the moment from the gentleman in kart 50. Let's have a quick look. So that is Cox. He's under a lot of pressure from Cox at the moment, so he's really got to watch, and those two have made a little bit of contact through the corkscrew just then, but relatively clean. They went in and came out in the same positions, bearing in mind there was some contact. There's some
side by side. Alan Kiddle.
He was muscled away to the side. It's a very hard place to actually make an overtake happen.
Here comes Max Cook again. Max Cox again. He's going to come up the inside.
Now, Kiddle's made a really, really good move now. He's moved up the inside. He's got the 2 drivers behind him, but he's taking a defensive line. He's managed to hold it as he comes into there. So those 5 drivers are bunched back up again as they exit and go up Damon Hill, across the bridge and down into the tunnel.
So yeah, a lot of contact being made. The boys are just getting the warning boards out. I've seen a few of them, but it looks as though it's going to be Cox from Preston, Kiddle, Raj Carney and Poigneur. But if we look at the front of the pack, for 11th and 12th effectively, first and second in this race, Harris and Ira Ellis Scott have re-emerged their battle from the last race we just saw them in.
Yeah, so we can see on the screen at the moment, it's Paul Harris and Ellis Scott going through there on our screen, you can see, and then slightly further back is Pryor. Quite nice bit of gap. Watson there's got a bit of a gap to go as well, so he can concentrate on his form. But that battle still with Cox and Preston at the moment, that's turning out to be something quite interesting. So last time around, actually, Cox appeared to be ahead of Preston, but no, he still is. So it's Preston and actual Kiddle now. Kiddle's all over the back of Preston, so Kiddle's got the experience around this circuit. So let's see if Kiddle can make something of this as they start to go round.
Yeah, you're right, PJ. So Preston's really struggling at this moment in the race. Long way to go yet, but Kiddle is all over the back of him. We're watching the battle at the front, though. Harris and Ira Ellis-Scott, they're coming down the main straight now. Obviously, top 5 only score points in this one for definite, and then you've obviously got the fastest lap as well. We're seeing a little mistake there from Ira going up over the bridge and down into the corkscrew. As we speak, the gap was half a second last time. It looks visually bigger.
I'd say Ira and Cox at the moment are actually trading lap time. So Cox has now done the fastest lap of the race.
There was a move done. Sorry to interrupt, PJ. I think that was Macy on Watson on the corkscrew for 4th position. So Macy's right up now, up into 4th place, and going to start hunting Pryor down, I'm sure.
Yeah, I didn't see that update on the screens myself, but I'm sure I'm going to take your word for it. I was waffling and looking at lap times, but no, there it is. I can see the changes come up there. So you were absolutely right. Apologies for missing that one. But the guys at the front, actually, Ira's actually gained a little bit of time on Harris. So Harris hasn't got the breathing space that a few of the other leaders have had. So he's really got to keep on this now. It's 0.66 as I went over last time. That's dropped to 0.54. So Ira's actually all over the back of him. Pryor is having his own little race behind him, so he's in a good position to capitalise if anything goes wrong. Then we have Macy and Watson getting quite close to each other now, and Macy's going to have to watch out because Watson's lapping particularly quickly at the moment around the circuit. And let's not forget the 4 drivers behind them as well. So Preston, Kiddle, Rajkhani and Poinia, they're all still looking quite racy at the moment.
Yeah, so as you can hear from PJ, he's trying to focus on everything, and we're trying to focus on anything, but the most interesting battle seems to be this one, Watson versus Cox. It's for the final point of the night, and Cox is all over the back of Watson. Watson needs to be careful, he's not moving twice down the straight. I don't think he was, but it looks as though Cox is the quickest driver on the track at the moment. 34.1 is, 34.4.
31.4.
There we go.
Oh, there's a move on the corkscrew there. He's actually managed to get past him.
There's a more contact, but I think he's done him. So Cox has got through Watson. Watson nearly putting him round on the exit of the corkscrew there.
And we'll see our timing screens update with that position change very shortly. But that's giving Cox the ability now to push past and attack Macy, which he really needs to do with the fastest man on the circuit at the moment. He really needs to push for Macy. So Macy's got to start worrying, and hopefully Macy can capitalise on Pryor's position. But unfortunately, there's quite a gap between those guys. So Pryor's got to look behind him now. Macy in the Tony Kart suit is going to have Cox all over the back of him.
You're right, PJ. There's a lot happening there. But look at Macy. He has got to start putting his finger out, because Cox, fastest driver on track, he is starting to pull away from Watson, and there's still battles going on further down the grid as well. This is, if we just hold on to this one, across the line they go. It's still Preston, Kiddle, Rajani and Pointer. They're all in a train, just waiting for Preston to make a mistake. But we can cut back up to the under the bridge, Martin. We can see the gap between Macy and Cox is visibly getting smaller, and Watson is pulling along.
Yeah, absolutely. So Macy had quite a nice gap, and that's dropped and dropped and dropped now as Cox is coming up behind him. So Cox has got a bit of advantage because Watson's dropped off the back of him. So hopefully Cox can manage to make a move on Macy there. I'm watching further back. Alan Kiddle's actually having a little bit of a move there on the guy in front, but we're going to try and concentrate on one race at a time.
Look at this up at the front though. We've just cut back to the battle for 4th position. Watson has come all the way along with Cox, and Macy, Massey, however you pronounce it, apologise if we're saying it wrong, George, but yeah, he is all over the back of him now as we're going into the first corner, round through the first corner into the chicane. They're just look at that exit that Cox has got going up the bridge, and we're going to have a look. Is he going to have a look up the inside? No, he's not. George does close the gap on him, and under the bridge they come.
It's really, really exciting stuff. So watch them as they come out through. Macy's got to really watch out now because they're right up behind him, and he's feeding Cox into Watson behind. So we've got to he's really got to make sure that if he can make a move, he gets it done quickly. Now they are closing up to Pryor in front of him.
Alan Kiddle's got past Preston. We've missed that. They're just coming down into shot now. So that's that. We've missed that. I don't know if Joe's got it or not, but it doesn't matter. Position for Kiddle. He can start chasing the others down now, but we're still going to watch as they come through the battle for 4th position between George and Max. It's going to intensify. He's just not quite getting there, Max, on the exit of the final corner, but through the chicane he's so much quicker. Can he use that to his advantage to have a look up at the inside in the corkscrew?
So a bit further back, Kiddle's managed to actually break away from this group. So Preston, Rajkani,
he's got through. Oh, nearly. I thought he was going around the outside, but he's not. And George has defended well. One of them managed to hit the barrier though on the exit. I think that was Cox. But look at Watson. He's all over the back of him. And we've got a now 3-way battle for 4th position, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
This is turning out to be another really exciting race. The last 2 races have been quite hard to commentate on because there's so much going on, and I'm trying to watch the screen as well as what's going on outside because there are probably 2 big group battles going on at the moment. But we'll watch this group as he's coming down the outside of him. A move down the outside, compromised first entry there.
Look at Tom though. Tom can get up the inside through there if that happens again. Under the bridge, Max thinks better of it, and going into the final corner, George has really got to defend. Can he get a good exit? Well, look at Max. He's got a very, very strong exit. Just can't quite get that run on him down into the first corner, but it's close. It's very, very close, PJ.
Absolutely. There's no change at the back. It's still Kiddle, Preston, Rajkani and Poigneur, and we'll keep you updated on that. And Paul Harris has pulled out quite a nice tasty gap on Ellis Scott at the moment, so he's now 3.5 seconds ahead, so he can relax a little bit and not put so much stress on his car and on himself as well. So, but still, the only man that really can't rest out easy out there is Macy, because Cox and Watson are still very much up close, although he has managed to gain a little bit of a gap this time round. So
yeah, he was about half a second quicker than Cox, and Cox was again half a second quicker than Watson that lap round. But it's the corkscrew, the chicane that Macy really does seem to have an issue with as they're coming round the corkscrew now. Look how close Cox is to him. He's going to come up the inside. No, he's not. Thinks better of it, and going into the final corner. Can he get a better drive? He tries that wider line, and he's got a good exit. He's let the kart run wide. He's going to have a look on the inside.
Can he make it stick on the inside? He's got the kart distance.
Superb, PJ, superb. He's worked that well. It was a good exit. The only time he really got a good exit compared to Macy going into turn 1. Cox is ahead. He's up into 4th.
So Macy's now got the pressure of Watson behind him, and obviously with that fresh overtake, he's going to try to get back at Cox, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. So now it's going to let Cox have the free air that he needs to get moving ahead. But let's not forget that there's 2 people ahead of him whose best laps are slower than him, but the other 2 drivers are very comparable. So he might be able to capitalise on 2 more positions if he's really, really quick. But there's a big gap between Cox of 12 seconds to Harris up front, so he's got some work to do. Don't get me wrong, there's 10 laps this race left, and we've seen all sorts of things happen in the space of 10 laps, so it's all still very much to play for.
Yeah, it certainly is, PJ, and we've got Paul Harris coming up to traffic. He's got a gap of 4.4 seconds at the moment. To the boys at the back, it's Preston, Rajkani and Poigneur who are having a little battle between themselves, and there you see, that's Paul Harris in the blue. He's a race leader, so this could be interesting because the 3 of them need to really think about what Paul's doing. If they get the blue flag, they need to move over and follow him straight away. Personally speaking, PJ, I'd do it on the straight and just back off a little bit and let Paul get through very quickly.
Yeah, so the blue flags are shown on the straight, on the exit of the tunnel to the drivers. So going through that chicane and through the first corner, up over the bridge and down the corkscrew, there are no blue flags shown. So that may compromise him a little bit. He's got a 5-second gap to Ellis Scott behind him. So hopefully he's not going to lose too much time if he does come up right behind him in a part of the track where we don't have any blue flags. Now, the gentleman there in kart 12, as it comes underneath Macy, he went a little bit wide through the corkscrew a minute ago. I don't know whether he's been feeling a little bit of fatigue, but he ran a little bit wide there. Since Cox got past him, he's got a bit of breathing space. Watson seems
and look what's just in front of Paul. You've got Rajkani and Poigneur battling. but Paul needs to get through them, otherwise he's going to get held up. But they're in their own little battle now. Pointer should think, well, let's be serious here. Paul needs to get through. Let's use Paul as a slingshot on the main straight to get him through. The blue flag's out.
Paul's
He's let
him through.
So and now it's going to be Rajkhani who lets him through, but Pointer isn't close enough. But he's got a massively quick overlay. I thought they were going to collide at the top of the first corner there.
Yeah, Pointer was very smart, and he ran wide on the last corner so that he could get quite a good run, and he carried a lot of overspeed and came up to back of Rajkhani really, really close.
Yeah, just couldn't quite find that little bit extra to get past Rajkhani, and they've lost obviously out to Preston now, who's a lot further on. Just looking out the window, PJ, they've all sort of spread themselves out a little bit. We're waiting for the next battle on track, really.
Yeah, so we'll just have a look at the times coming up here. There's some quite quick lap times going in. You know, the spread of lap times is quite small, really, to be fair. I know that Harris has still got a good lead. It's gone up to 5.82 seconds. Pryor's 5 seconds off the back of Ellis Scott, and Cox is only 2 seconds off Pryor. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Cox can catch up Pryor to steal that third place. You know, every point counts in this race, so every position counts for the points of this race. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens there. Watch a few of the drivers come across the line. That's Paul Harris there on screen at the back. So he's now coming up against a few more back markers. So they're going to have to tactically move out the way. But like Reno said, the rest of the guys are kind of spread out. They're finding their flow. They're not having to attack and defend as much, which means they can concentrate on their overall lap time. And a lot of them are actually starting to set their fastest laps of the race. So Harris just set his fastest lap. Ellis Scott's just set his fastest lap. And working down the order, a few others within a few tenths of their fastest laps. So, although they're spreading out, by no means are they slowing down.
So let's just have a quick look. Final corner now. We've got an interesting battle about to happen. Coming across the line they come. It's Pryor and it's Cox. Cox has reeled him in. The gap is just over a second. With 3 laps to go, can Cox get one more position? He's had a fantastic race so far. Other than that, I think that's the only other battle that's happening on track. So let's have a look. Where is he? They're coming down the corkscrew now into the bridge section, under the bridge, sorry, and it's a good exit once again, but the gap is visibly shorter. He's not got long to go. We're on lap 28 completed, lap 29 of 30. Pryor looking over his shoulder, and Cox not quite getting there.
So that gap's now down to only 0.4 of a second between those guys. So Cox is actually lapping 31.0, and Pryor's last lap was a 32.0 as well. So we've got 2 drivers alongside each other. So Kiddle's making a little bit of some moves for himself, and that was him and Preston. I think Preston was actually having a bit of a move on him, but Cox and Pryor.
Look how close they are. Cox has got one more lap. What can he do? Hopefully he's not going to send it and ruin the race for him, but he's had a fantastic race. We're going to see Paul Harris cross the line in a bit, but through the chicane they come, and up over the bridge. Cox is going for it. He's up the inside, alongside. No, he cuts back in and goes for the outside line. Can he get a good run under the bridge and have a look up the inside under the bridge? Pryor covers the inside. We've seen Paul cross the line. He takes the win. Ira Scott comes across in second. Third place is going to be close. It's not going to be Cox, so it's going to be Pryor. Pryor crosses the line ahead of Cox by a mere a tenth of a second. I'll get it right eventually. Watson comes across. Maisie comes across 5th. Watson 6th, and we wait for Kiddle to come across the line. He hasn't been lapped yet. He's the only other one who hasn't. Preston's already crossed the line. Rajkhani and Pointer also.
Yeah, so Kiddle's in the fortunate position. He gets to complete that lap with the guys behind him don't, so Kiddle's position was safe. So, yeah, that is your finishing order up on screen at the moment. So that was really, really good there by Paul Harris, and I will try and grab an interview with him while the guys just get the other carts going and maybe give them a switch off for 5 minutes while I give the carts a race. So what would be nice is if you show a couple, leave the start one for me, because I'll speak with Paul Harris about that one, see how he felt. But I'll go get Ellis Scott and Harris into the
into the briefing room,
interview room, the green room. We'll come up with a name for it. In fact, anyone got any ideas or suggestions of what we should call it?
I like the one you called it earlier, Green Room of Doom.
Green Room of Doom, yeah. That was good. Right, let me grab some drivers. Reno, you fill for me.
Yep. Got more holes in the in the commentary box, so I'm just going to start filling them again. So let's have a look at the first replay. What we got then is this the? Yeah, so this is actually I think it was Poyner letting Harris through on the blue flag and trying to get that slingshot. Nearly worked for him, in fairness. It wasn't a bad idea, but unfortunately he couldn't quite get it. The next one we're going to show is an overtake for the first corner. So this is the move that that was it Cahill? Ricky? No, sorry. I'm trying to work out which drivers that was. I think that's Preston on the outside. Let's try again. Yeah, I think it. Oh, going backwards again. Let's just have a quick look. We're just struggling to get that back playing. So, who was that? That was Preston, and I think, off the top of my head, it might have been Kiddle. Not sure. And then there was a bit more movement from Raj Carney on Poyner at the back as well there. So a couple of overtakes there. I couldn't work out what the first one was. And then we've got that. But PJ should be ready, already thereabouts in the briefing room. I'm just waiting for him to get all set up and everything for you. He's got Paul Harris, so the race winner, with him. We're just cutting to see Philpott on pole position. So here we go. PJ is with Paul Harris.
I certainly am, and in the background I've got a second place man as well. So I'm just going to mute the TV because it did turn off and now I can hear myself and I sound terrible. I'm sorry for everyone at home that has to listen to it. So I just muted myself. So Paul, we're going to actually watch the replay of the start if we can get that up, Joe, and just see how you guys started. There we go. So top left hand side of the screen there. How was the start for you? How did it feel?
It felt all right, actually. It's just went smoothly, really. There was no one coming from the right hand side, so just kept a tight line and hope no one pushed.
That's always the difficult bit, making sure, because you can get your bit right, but it's everyone else behind you. You can see it's quite a clean start from everyone here.
That's not bad, is it?
No, it's not. It's not bad at all. Considering we've got a few. There's a little bit of action just there at the back. They've got a driver in white taking a bit of a T-bone. I think that's Alan Kiddle actually there, who suffered a little bit, but he managed to fight his way back up. He did that very much so in the last race as well. So your race, you did control the pace most of the time. I think you finished 5 seconds ahead in the end. Did you at any point feel the pressure from behind?
I did, yeah. He was right behind me for at least half the race. I'm sure he was. And then I managed to get a small gap, and then just carried on from there. Really, just went up my own pace, and it got faster and faster. And then when you can see a back marker, you got someone to chase. So. And
you got past back markers all okay? Blue flags work well for you?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, perfect. Pulled out the way perfectly. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you'll be seeing you next month as well?
Yeah, I've already paid the deposit. So.
Excellent. Yeah, he's right. Pay your deposits, guys. If you want to get in and race, make sure you pay deposits. That's the first part of your race. Pay your deposit first. And we're going to work up our second place finisher, actually. Now, we've referred to him as Ellis Scott on this live stream. So if you want to pass the mic over, jump on in for me, my man. So my colleagues tell me you're quite quick across one lap.
I like to think I am, anyway. Didn't prove it today, but yeah, I'm trying to get better.
So your start was quite tidy as well. You started on the outside of the circuit as well.
That was the tough bit because I really had to get in there because everyone else on the inside would take you over. So I had to get right behind Paul and just try and no one pushed.
It's good. And say you've improved a little bit on where you finished on your first race.
Yeah.
Are you joining us next month?
I'll be here. Yeah.
We're looking forward to it. So I know we've got a few more replays. Hopefully we'll get a time to do those before the guys on the grid. So Reno, can I hand back to you? Is that all right?
Of course you can, PJ. If you want to get yourself over here quick as we can, the grid is already forming for the next race.
Excellent. I will get over there.
Sorry, PJ. Yeah, we have Bradley Philpott on pole position. Alongside him, Martin Medlock. What a lap from him. We've then got Josh Nye in third position. And then Thomas Krakowski fourth. Then it's Jonathan Elliott, then Sean Brierley, then Jay Smith, who had a fantastic race in the next one. Dan Chambers in 8th, Guy Jolly in 9th position, and Ricky Cahill starts in 10th. Welcome back, PJ.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really like Pete Tellis, Scott. He makes me laugh. He's got such good positive energy, and obviously Paul in there as well. He's happy with everything he's got. So Philpott's been pushed back into position there. We don't want any disadvantage.
Red lights. Lights out, and Philpott's got a good start. Martin Medlock tries to cut across, but Josh is already alongside. And you've got Thomas Krakowski on the inside as well. Can he move past Martin? I think he can get alongside and possibly try it, but the chicane's too tight. And it's a little bit of contact from behind, but nothing major, PJ. We've seen worse.
Absolutely, now it's a very commanding start there from Philpott, and he's managed to secure it. So now Josh Nye's got the pressure, unfortunately, from Thomas Krakowski behind him, and we know Thomas Krakowski can race, so Josh Nye may have to let Bradley Philpott slip away now, unless him and Krakowski can work together to push.
It's Medlock in third, PJ.
Oh, sorry, I do apologise, it's Medlock. It's Krakowski behind.
Yeah, he couldn't quite get the jump on Medlock in the end, so Josh should, in theory, be able to get quicker, but Medlock with that qualifying time, massively quick. Let's see what he can do, and can he put pressure on Josh? Josh is looking behind him. He's not sure who it is, but he's coming up to the corkscrew and he's opened a little bit of gap.
Yeah, really good stuff there going on. So Josh actually isn't losing that much time to Philpott. Don't get me wrong, 1.2 seconds at the end of last lap. Let's see what it is at the cost of line this time.
Grid though, so let's have a look at what he is this time round. The gap now, 1.1 seconds.
Oh. So Josh, Philpott isn't able to get away from Josh as much as he wants to, and actually Josh seems to be getting a good couple of kart lengths in front of Medlock, which means that Medlock's going to have to get the pressure there from Thomas Krakowski behind him.
There's a little bit of a train starting to form now, PJ. Medlock, Krakowski and Elliott. So watch out for Elliott. We haven't really seen him nearer the front. He's been in a bit of a dicey battle with Sean, who is actually battling with Dan Chambers right now, with Jay Smith trying to get up the inside, and he's done it. There's a bit of a mistake.
Oh, the three drivers right going down into the straight.
Like
Can we get the first corner going?
Well, I didn't like that, but Sean is he's done a little bit of bumping there. The boys might not be happy with that. He wasn't happy with the bumping earlier. He's still showing his arm signal, and we've missed it up at the corkscrew. Thomas Krakowski has passed Martin Medlock, and there's been a bit of a... Bradley Philpott stopped! Bradley Philpott has stopped! It'll be a red flag! What's happened to Philpott?
What's happened to Philpott? He's stopped out on circuit. He's just come to a bit of a grinding halt there. The driver's coming to a controlled manner. He's looking underneath his cart. We can't seem to see. Norby's gone over there and turned it off, so I'm going to let Reno rush now. What an amazing start of the race that was. Someone's getting a bit of a telling off now for contact. It's the guy in the yellow helmet. He did, to be fair. We're going to probably watch a replay, actually, if we can, just while these guys look. So that last bit of contact at the first corner, can we get a look at that, Joe, if that's all right? So actually, this is the incident that's coming through under here, so that's not really what I want to watch, but we'll watch it anyway. So you can see Philpott there is losing positions. A lot of the drivers are passing him. He's got his two hands up in the air as his cart's cut out, and the three drivers have got past him. So that's what's just happened. Can we go back one more, Joe, and see if we get the first corner incident there between the gentleman in the yellow helmet, Elliott, Briley, I can't quite remember which one that was. So we'll have a quick look. So we can see all the drivers coming through here now on the screen, nice and tidy. It's actually not. It's the gentleman behind him. Was it Matt Smith? Matt Smith made a little bit of contact there. Now you can see the marshals down there. We've got Bradley Philpott's taking his seat out. He's actually out of his cart. There's some marshals there having a quick look. I'm sure Reno's going to be explaining to us what we're going to do. But yeah, that's actually Matt Smith that made a little bit of contact there into that first corner. So play that again if we could, guys. Sorry, just not that one, the one before. Yeah, the one at the first corner. But that'd be great if you can. So you can see on your screens now. I kind of misjudged that myself and what happens. But you can see there Matt Smith coming in. So not Matt Smith. Jay Smith comes in, he loses a little bit and he makes that contact. Now, it almost looked like from our angle that the driver on the outside, which would be Briley, actually cut into him, but that's not the case at all. He was holding his line. It was Jay that actually made the contact. Then there's Guy Jolly behind him as well. So you can see there, look, you know, Briley is keeping his line. He's not close enough at this point to have made, you know, there's maybe a cart's width, but you can see he's already losing the rear end of his cart there. So Briley has, it's fine. So we're going to watch another replay here as well. So there's another replay coming up which I believe is another first corner incident. We love a first corner incident here. So we will cut back to there we go. So back again. Okay, so bit of a replay here, some contact going on. So this is again Mr. Smith coming in and giving. So if we can rewind that a little bit, Joe, let's just see if there is actually any untoward contact going on there, because there was, that from my angles, Mr. Smith needs to calm down just a little bit to ensure that we can continue on with a full fleet of go-karts. Now, from my eyes here, I think it's almost a fair enough position. No, you carry on, Norby. You do the important bit. I'm just doing some waffling. I know that there may be a little bit of contact, but it's not putting massively out of position. So there's Bradley Philpott giving us a thumbs up to the camera down there. If we just cut back to that, there he is. Look, he's looking all calm and collected. He might have a go-kart, but we'll see if he wants to run around the circuit. He's just getting into his seat, actually, just off camera. You can't see. He's just getting into his seat. There you go, legs up, looking all comfortable. So I'm glad he's quite happy with it. I'm going to speak to the marshals in a minute and just make sure that they have a word with Mr. Smith, just to make sure he calms down his tactics a little bit. I know it's all to play for Kart 44, gesticulating a little bit there, and I get that. It's not nice when you're up against someone who's probably taking slightly less care than you are, and no doubt that'll push him into a position where Mr. Smith behind him might benefit. So Bradley is coming off the track now. The kart's going back round to their starting positions. We'll be losing 3 laps of the race and restarting from their position. Now, we will be getting Bradley Philpott a go-kart. I believe it's just gone back to the workshop just to see. It may have been a throttle cable that snapped, so maybe a really, really quick fix that we can get done. So, actually, I'm going to go speak to Mr. Philpott. So, keep me going here. So, you're not on camera, but you are on mic. What happened from your perspective?
I just went through the corkscrew like normal and lost drive basically, so the engine revs went through the roof and the kart stopped going forward. So
sounds like a belt to me.
Yeah, it felt like a belt. I just tried to get out of the way, stay to the side, but when I got to the hairpin I couldn't go any further. So.
We've got a lovely replay for you to watch at home later, so that was quite good. And we've been watching a few of your guys out here. Now there's a bit of contact at the first corner, and we originally thought it was your man in with a yellow helmet. Actually, Mr. Smith on the left-hand side, so we're going to have a little word with him. We've got them on replay, no one can escape it anymore. So yeah, enjoy that, and hopefully we'll get your kart, fresh belt, back on the grid to get going very soon.
Cool. Do you know what the sorry, I was just wondering what the procedure is. I did listen in the driver briefing, but I can't quite remember what happens now.
Absolutely. So depending on the progression of the race, we are within 10 laps, so it'll be a restart from the original starting positions from the grid, but 3 laps down.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll be starting pole again. You've got that first corner hassle to get through again, but I'm sure you'll be fine.
Cool, thank you.
No problem at all. So the marshals are just working on this now. So, like I said, we've got a cadet and junior leagues down here, and we've also got quite a few knowledgeable marshals, and we provide training sessions for a lot of the youngsters here. It's the cadet training course, and we'll get some more information out on our Facebook pages. Now, you can like us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're now on Twitch as well, and follow us on YouTube, because we do share some little videos every now and again with secret little hints and tips on what it is that we reckon is the best line through the circuit, or what upcoming changes we're doing. It's always good to get kind of a handle on the situation before you arrive down at the circuit. So do like us on all of those. I don't know if we've got any messages, polite ones, on our Twitch stream. Nothing on there at the moment. I think you might need an account to subscribe to Twitch, so I don't to message us on there. So I don't know whether many people are doing it. I know we've got a lot of likes and comments and followers on our Facebook page. So by all means, do share our live stream. And I'm just going to speak to Norby. Do you reckon it's worth turning the karts off for a second? Just let them cool down while the guys are working on that other kart. Yeah, good lad. That'd be a really good idea. Just to save a bit of fuel. We're very economically friendly here. So yeah, that's something that's really, really important, something we'd like to do. So I don't know whether we should look back at maybe some replays or something that we could do just while we're working on that kart, just to fill a little bit of time. Anything will do, to be honest. I don't mind. Just stick it on the film and we'll work out what's going on. Could be... he's having a little look through. There's some golden nuggets in here, apparently. So I've been told. If the the guys up in the dyno listening, I hope the feed's still good and strong up there. Certainly, we've had no problems through this league. I shouldn't have just said that. I don't know why. Sorry, Martin. I just cursed the stream. I'm sure we'll be fine. So the carts are now being turned off, and that's going to help us reserve a little bit of fuel, stop them from overheating. So we've got a replay showing on the screen. Your guess is as good as mine as to what it is, but I'm sure it's going to be a tasty nugget, no doubt. So there's 2 carts coming down side by side here as we come into this chicane here, nice and slow motion. And he's made a little bit of contact there with the inside barrier. Gained a little bit of grip as well. They both ran wide there, so neither one of them's really profited from that. But yeah, it kind of goes to show that the corkscrew is good overtaking place underneath the bridge. Entry into corkscrew, exit of the corkscrew, midway through the corkscrew, over the top of the corkscrew. The corkscrew is a good place to overtake, but you've got to be brave, all right? You've got to understand that it's quite a fast corner. There's a sudden drop in the or undulation, if you want to get really fancy with it all. And yeah, I'm just going to talk with my mic while he just adjusts it slightly. There we go. That's always very weird when someone else is holding it. So we've got another replay coming up here. As before, anyone's guess is as good as mine as to what's going on. So we've got a cart coming down the inside here. Quite a nice, tasty move. The guy on the outside, I recognise that race suit. He's in this one here. I think it's not Medlock. Is it Elliot that he's in? Oh, I can't remember. No, he's in the first race, wasn't he? The Tony Kart suit. And that was him leaving the door wide open for that overtake to happen. So at the moment we've got Reno coming back towards the circuit. So we're going to get an update as to what the process or procedure is going to be from here. So if you guys don't mind, we're just going to cut to a small little bit of audio, and we'll keep this camera on here while I'm just going to have a chat with Reno to find out what we're doing. Give us 2 minutes, and I promise my annoying voice will be back to annoy you very shortly. Right then, guys, so just a quick update on the situation. So they are still sat there, ready to go around and restart the race. So Bradley Philpott's car unfortunately suffered a broken belt. So the fastest mechanics in the world have replaced that now. They're just putting all the body panels back on the kart, and the kart will be ready to go very soon. Now, we have lost one racer from this race so far, midway through the race. Not sure what the situation is there, but I'm sure we'll find out afterwards. But it does mean, almost in a way, that we fix this go-kart unneedingly, because we've got a spare go-kart anyway, but these things happen in racing. And like I say, it is an amateur league, it is racing, and mechanical issues do happen. And to be able to get a kart, put a new belt on it, and get it back on the track within kind of 10 minutes, it's not a bad going at all. So a lot of thanks to our mechanics and marshals here for working quite hard. And it's important that we keep the racing as fair and as we can. So we'll be lining the guys back up in their starting position. So Bradley Philpott unfortunately will have to go through that first corner mayhem again. But we saw him get through it quite well this time. Josh and I made a good start. Hopefully that's going to be the same situation from there on. So wishing them all the best. Now we will get some replays of the start again, the second start, but like I say, any comments, any suggestions, just give us a message on Twitch, Facebook, message us, however you want to get in touch. If there's anyone who wants to read a message out to, get in touch and we'll do that for you. But I'm going to head back to the commentary box now, and we're just going to have a quick look. I think we're only momentarily waiting now, and we're going to swap the go-karts around, so bear with me and we'll be right back. And we're back in the commentary box. So the reason why we are not putting Philpott into the other go-kart is because he's asked to go back into kart 46. So it's a little bit of a delay for our racers out here at the moment. But in comparison to a lot of the series that we've run before, it's not necessarily an issue. I think there's a driver out on grid who's moaning a little bit about the time this is taken to do. But at the end of the day, we're all here to race, and we give you a great platform to race on, and we wish you kind of all be a little bit more grateful about it. So we'll be having a word with him afterwards, because it is sportsmanship at the end of the day, and this is not something that we do for our own fun. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to be here, and certainly Martin's going to be here for a few hours afterwards, packing everything up. So it's very much a team effort here, and it'd be great if Steve's around, if he could come and have a quick chat with me just to help me break up the situation a little bit here. I know we've got a few photographers out on the side of the circuit at the moment, so there should be some great photos coming out from all of this as well. So fingers crossed that they look good. But like I say, there's a few comments and things on the live video I've done. I've just seen the go-kart come rolling out of the pit lane. There it is. You would have never thought it had a problem. So we are very much ready to go. There it is. Can we see it? There it goes. Absolutely fantastic work there by the marshals. I don't know how long that took, but I expect him to be changing belts at that rate now through the week as well. So if it's taken him a whole day to do 5 belts, then I can tell him he's a liar, because it only took a few minutes. So Reno's heading back to the commentary box now, and Reno, I was just saying that the guys have managed to repair a kart quite quickly, actually, and get it out there.
Yeah. Sorry, let me catch my breath.
Yeah, I'll let you catch your breath before I start asking you too many questions. So now you've just come running up here. So I think there's a driver out on the grid who's making a complaint about how long it took to fix that go-kart. And I was just saying that replacing a belt and getting the go-kart out, that's pretty damn quick.
Yeah, typically speaking, your belt, when we're not under pressure, can take up to 20-25 minutes. There's a couple of bits you need to take off, and bits and bobs. But yeah, we just managed to do that in, 10 minutes? So it doubled the time. Unfortunately for us, we have lost quite a bit of time doing that, and the boys are going to have to restart. It's going to go from 27 laps So 3 laps from the first part of the race. Restart. It's the second red flag we've had. So yeah, unfortunately that is how it is. But the grid lineup goes just how the last lap formed. So Philpott on pole, Nye second, Medlock third, Krakowski in fourth, Elliott fifth, Chambers sixth, Brierley in 7th, Smith in 8th, Jolly 9th and Cahill in 10th position.
So from my understanding, I know that we had someone walk out of the go-kart momentarily and we had a spare kart, but Philpott wanted his 46 back, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we were nearly done anyway, so we might as well got him it sorted and done that way. So, yeah, we thought, yeah, why not? Let's get him sorted.
Excellent.
Here we go.
Right, our way we go again, and Josh Nye's managed to make a good start, but he's not quite got the same start as he got last time. Bradley Philpott's made a nice clean exit, and as we come through here now, Josh Nye's been forced wide. There's another car coming through the inside of him, the gentleman with the yellow and orange helmet, but Josh Nye's managed to get in front of him. Jay Smith is making a little bit more contact with the guys behind him, but that's relatively a clean start. But as you can see, Philpott has made it past, and I believe that's Medlock that actually made it into second rather than Josh Nye this time. So Josh Nye's got some time to make. In fact, Josh Nye's back in fourth now. So that's Thomas Krakowski in front of him as well, I believe.
Yeah, so Thomas Krakowski's got past Josh Nye. Josh Nye very close to him going down into turn 1 for the second lap. The restart, and you've got Jonathan Elliott who's just behind him. With a little bit of a gap happening before Jay Smith and Guy Jolly. Then it's Dan Chambers and Cahill Brierley, obviously going to be 2 laps down on your screens as he has decided to walk away from this particular event. He'll still score 6 points after that, even finishing without finishing this race.
Fantastic, so that opens up another slot for next month. So you guys, if you haven't paid your deposit yet, get it down, because we've definitely got an extra slot available from a driver who doesn't want to come back, and we're not going to complain about that. We want to keep the guys down here that want to be down here. We love racing, we want you guys to love racing too, so we'll do everything we can, including fixing go-karts there and then on the circuit rather than giving you a replacement. We fixed it for him, we got it back on. Really, really good work from our spanner guys over there at the moment. One of our two of our marshals acting as mechanics did really, really well. So,
and me, Peach.
And Reno as well, sorry, my apologies. So you can see Bradley Philpott coming into the first corner there. Massive gap now of 2.35 seconds. But Medlock's under pressure from behind at the moment by Thomas Dragowski, who's got Josh Nye giving him pressure as well. So that means that Elliott there is still under pressure from Jay Smith. Now, those two had a few coming together. We saw replays, actually, whilst we're in the gap. And initially, it looked like Elliott made a mistake by turning in onto Jay Smith on one of the corners. But having looked at the replay, simply not the case at all. Jay Smith came from a long way back, tried to make room for himself. A lot of gesticulation going on there. But Guy Jolly's all over the back of Jay Smith as well. So Jay's got to really keep track. Now, Thomas Dragowski's losing a little bit of time with Josh Nye so up close behind him. And they come down into the corkscrew. They're almost side by side, but they've gone back to nose to tail again. So that's that gap there is 2.4 seconds to Philpott in front.
Well, between the two of them there, PJ, Thomas and Josh, they're letting Martin get away. Philpott's pulling away now. I wonder how that new belt's feeling for him. It will feel different. A lot more taut, a lot more tension in that belt. He might be able to get a better exit, but it means cornering speeds will be reduced on entry.
Absolutely, but I always say when a belt's about to go, the kart feels its best. I don't know why that is, but when a belt's about to go, the kart feels really peppy, and that's a nice feeling to have. But Philpott's managing to keep his lead 2.5 seconds. Medlock really under no pressure from Krakowski at the moment, so he's able to concentrate on just getting a really good lap time. Krakowski's having to defend from Josh. Josh is in quite a good position at the moment where Elliott isn't being able to keep up the back of him. So Elliott's actually still trying to defend from Jay behind him. And then coming up behind is Guy Jolly.
And a good mention for Elliott as well. He has the fastest lap of the race, PJ.
Fantastic. And then you've got Chambers and Cahill at the back of the grid as well. So we're watching here, that's Josh Nye in front. That's Philpott going through now, followed by Medlock. And then you've got Krakowski and Nye there side by side. Quite a tasty gap between the guys behind him. But they are starting to spread out a little bit. Those lap times, Josh doesn't appear to be as on the back of kart 45 as he was last time around.
No, but I think looking down the grid, I think Martin is now looking over his shoulder a little bit. Josh is saying to Thomas, let's go, let's get him. And the gaps open up between Josh and Josh Nye, that is, and Jonathan Elliott as they come back under the bridge. Josh is right up the backside of Thomas Krakowski once again. We've got 19 laps to go, 18 laps now that Bradley has crossed the start-finish line once more, and the fastest lap as well has just been taken by Bradley. Well, it might be because of that new belt, but under these circumstances, PJ, you know, the new belt might be helping him, might have hindered him. It could go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have got a few laps of this race left, and I know I said it before, and I'll definitely say it again, but anything can change within 10 laps, and I don't think Bradley's a man who's likely to make many mistakes, but you can see that Medlock's gap between Thomas Kwiatkowski is actually dropping. So Thomas and Josh may be working together now to bring Medlock down, and once one driver goes past, it's very easy for a second driver. So if they work together well enough, they can put the pressure on Medlock and both capitalise on him, get in front of him, and then be able to push up towards Bradley Philpott.
Yeah, definitely, PJ. I think it's all about teamwork for Nye and Kwiatkowski now. They both know the circuit well from last year. Medlock's new to the league, and they've just got to work together to really focus on catching them now. As they come through the start-finish line, the gap this time round between Medlock and Tom is only 0.2 of a second. It's going to be an interesting last half of this race. Yeah, we got 16 laps to go, so we're nearly at the halfway point. Obviously, the 3 laps carried over from before the red flag, as it wasn't in the first 2 laps. Josh making a little mistake going into it, but he could get a good run up on them as he comes through. It's 3 abreast. Sorry, not 3 abreast, 3 in a train there. And just watch out for Jonathan Elliott if Martin Medlock decides to start slowing down his pace. Going into turn 1, it looks pretty clean, and Martin's holding that position very nicely. The only driver under 31 second is still Bradley Philpott. He holds that bonus point at the moment. Going into the corkscrew now, it's Medlock, it's Kwiatkowski, it's Nye, then a gap to Elliott, a little bit of a gap to Smith. He just can't hold on just yet. Then Guy Jolly's on a race of his own as well, and then we've got Chambers and Cahill at the back. And remember, Riley has come off after the red flag.
Absolutely, so we are only 9 drivers live on the circuit at one time now. That's not too much of a problem, because Medlock is actually now, Thomas Kwiatkowski's caught him right up. Josh has dropped off the bit of the back of Thomas Kwiatkowski, which isn't a bad thing, because if Thomas Kwiatkowski can put a move on Medlock, Josh is in prime position to capitalise from that as well. So it's all still to play for with those 3. And we look further back.
Josh hit the barrier on the exit there. Just pushing that a little bit too hard, PJ, trying to keep up with Thomas, who is now on the right on the back of Medlock. Bit of bumping there for Joe. I'm not sure who, but Joe will show us later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would say the race between Elliott and Smith at the back as well, those 2 in the first part of this race before the restart, they were side by side a lot of the times, and I know Elliott kind of felt a little bit frustrated with Jay, but I think when you're used to racing at a high level of driving, racing against other people that are equally as good as you, it's quite an interesting position to be in, because I think on an indoor circuit it's certainly a lot more.
There's a yellow flag at turn 1, and it's Medlock. Medlock spun it. I'm not sure what happened. Joe, you got that? He's throwing a thumbs up. John's out on trying to sort it out.
Cahill's on his way down to that corner, but there's a yellow flag before he gets there, so he slowed down perfectly.
I'm not sure what happened, PJ. I missed it. I was too busy looking at the timing screens. So that means that Thomas, he just messed up on his own according to Martin. So that means then Medlock is dropping down the order. You'll see Thomas take 2nd, Josh take 3rd, Elliott take 4th, Smith take 5th, Guy Jolly is all the way up. Cahill will be ahead of Medlock as well. And what a shame for Medlock. He was holding the pressure so well, but now Josh can really attack Thomas as they come through under the bridge. There's the camera there. Look at Josh. He's all over the back of Thomas. Can he do a cutback? He's alongside PJ. And into the final corner. Can Thomas just hold that inside line? Josh has got a much better exit. Thomas just goes to the inside. He's not getting through that time. Josh goes around the outside. Watch for Elliott and watch for Smith. Going to catch these boys, because Thomas did a 32.2 that lap. Much slower. And Josh is all over the back of him. You've got to watch for Thomas for the weaving. I don't think there was, but he's just going to be careful. He's looking over his shoulder a lot. And under the bridge they come.
Excellent. So Philpott's still got that lead ahead of those guys, and he's managed to lap 1 back marker already. But the Thomas Kwiatkowski, Josh Nybat is actually leaving Elliott, who's gaining some time on him. So him and Jay aren't fighting as much. It's given Elliott the opportunity to work on a good lap time
rather than on a defensive position around the circuit. And Josh Knight all over the back of Krakowski constantly as they come down into the corkscrew now. He's constantly having a look, making sure Thomas Krakowski feels the pressure of him being behind and hopefully forcing Krakowski into a mistake. Unfortunately, that isn't going to occur. Thomas Krakowski is very level-headed. He's very much a Kimi Räikkönen of TRCK at the moment, and I don't see him making a light mistake. But Elliot, that gap now is still dropping, so Elliot is gaining on Josh Knight. He's got to make something happen. He's either got to push Thomas Krakowski onwards, or he's going to have to start defending from Elliot. And Elliot is going to be in a horrible position where he's trying to attack Josh Knight and defend from Smith, which is not in a position I wish to be in.
It's getting very close, PJ. Tension's building. We've got 7 laps to go. So, yep, 7 laps as Philpott crosses the line. Josh and Thomas are being reeled in big time from Elliot and Smith. And as across the line they go, into turn 1 once more, and Josh not close enough. He's got to be careful. He's got to try and find that way through. Thomas is a hard driver to overtake, like we say, and it is going to be extremely difficult for Josh to get through, but a top 3 position isn't going to hurt him today.
Yes, so don't forget Medlock's now actually challenging Cahill. Cahill's going quite defensive off screen at the moment. I'll tell you about it. Let's not watch it though, because we are keeping an eye on those guys up the front, because Josh and I are still over the back of Thomas Krakowski, but Medlock's working his way back up the field slowly. He's gone past Chambers. He's now trying to get past Cahill. And as you can see,
they're coming up to a back marker as well, PJ. That's going to be crucial. If Dan actually lets one of them through, he's got to let 2 of them through, so he's got to be aware of what's behind him. But the blue flag rule is 3 blue flags for the same driver. Otherwise, it's if you go for a 4th blue flag, it's a black flag, so he doesn't want to do that.
Excellent. No, I completely agree. He doesn't want that to happen. And at the end of the day, these guys have still got a few laps to go, so we're now 5 laps before the end. It'll be 4 laps for shortly as Philpott crosses the line. So now it's now or never for these guys, and I don't know if Josh Knight's willing to risk a risky move to get past him, fearing that he may make a big mistake and let the 2 drivers behind him through or not, or whether he's happy just to settle for what he's got. But that back marker, they're coming up quick to the back marker.
Yes.
It's going to be really important that he moves out the way, nice and easy, nice and cleanly to let these guys through. Any time lost for Krakowski and Knight will fall into the hands of Elliot and Smith.
Definitely, PJ. It's going to be an interesting last few laps. 4 laps to go. Well, 3.5, because Philpott's already nearly on the final corner. He's absolutely walking this one, but look at how close Josh is under the bridge. Can he get a good run on Thomas going under there? It's going to be a lad, but look where Elliot is now. Elliot all the way, Jonathan Elliot, right on the back of Josh Knight. Josh Knight's lost a bit of time, and Thomas can get the blue flag very shortly. Norby's looking for it. He's got to look for the blue flag soon. He's within a couple of kart lengths. You don't want to get held up as they come through the chicane, and look at Elliot all over the back of Josh. Josh has got to focus on what's in front of him more so than what's behind. Jay Smith isn't really keeping up with him at the moment. And as they come through the bridge, Norby's getting the blue flag ready. Can Dan get out the way in time? I don't think he is. He's going to hold Thomas up. And Josh, this could be an opportunity now. And yeah, look at that. He's run wide, Dan Chambers. Is he going to let the 3 of them through? I think he is, Good racing from Dan Chambers. But that hasn't helped Josh or Elliot out.
No, actually, it really was not good for Josh, because Elliot came straight through without a single loss of time. So now Josh is in literally a kart sandwich, where he's got Krakowski in front, he's got to attack the position, and Elliot behind, he's got to defend from to keep his position. And he's quite a cool-headed driver as our Josh. So I don't think he's going to make a mistake, but we have literally got 1 lap left of this race. So it's going to come down. There's a little move by Elliot. He managed to get a good run, but Nye's defending the inside line and keeps it cool and collected.
You know what? I think Josh has settled for 3rd there, PJ. I think he's settled for 3rd. He's going to defend from Elliot, because they're not dropping Dan Chambers, and he's a lap back. We're going to cut to the first corner, the final corner though, because Bradley Philpott is going to take race 2, the victory for Philpott. Good effort there. Martin Medlock crosses the line behind him, but unfortunately a lap down. We're going to cut to Thomas Krakowski though. Then it's Josh, and Josh has made a mistake!
Oh no way, he's going to get a run down the straight. Josh has managed to keep it. Elliot's finishing it just a few tenths behind him.
Oh, what action right to the end, PJ. Action right to the end. So Thomas took 2nd, Josh took 3rd, Elliot took 4th, Smith 5th, Guy Jolly 6th. We're just going to wait for Cahill to cross the line. He's the only one who's not to, because Medlock's a lap down. Cahill is not going to cross the line. So actually, he was a lap behind Philpott as well, I gather. So, yeah, it's well, PJ, what a day. We've had everything today. So let's just rewind then.
Well, I just want to say before you rewind, so you
go
can
on,
catch your
go on.
breath. We've got quite a few of the drivers from the first race hanging around on the gantry, and I really like to see that because it is all about the racing, and it's about supporting each other, being there to watch the racing, being involved in this atmosphere. And a lot of the times last year, there's a round of applause going on out there as well. A lot of the time last year, there's a few drivers who kind of disappeared straight after they were finished. And I think, when you sweat and stress together, it's difficult. You want to make sure that. You want to make sure that we've got good racers and supporters here. We're just going to get that light back on. I think one of the marshals wants to go home a little bit too soon, so we'll have to have a word about that. But yes, Rena, you were saying we've had a lot of stuff happen today, haven't we?
What a day, mate. I mean, just in this one alone, we've had 2 red flags, a cart being fixed mid-race, sorry. We've had a driver walk out. I mean, we've had everything just alone in this, let alone the cadets earlier, where we had multiple fantastic overtakes, and then obviously the juniors this morning as well, where we trialled the 1 lap qualifying. It was sensational. What a day we've had. A long day, don't get me wrong. It was a very long day. And in the end, it was all worth it, I believe. Now, Joe's got some replays for us to go through. We're going to run through a couple of them. PJ, do you want to nick any of them before? I mean, Philpott will probably be the best one to interview out there, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Since he's the race winner.
Probably. I'll grab Philpott and I'll try and grab Josh Nye as well in the interview room and just get a few words from them. And
maybe Martin Medlock as well, talk us through what happened with the spin.
Yeah, what does Medlock look like?
He is... I'll find him.
If he's holding his helmet, I'll know who he is.
Yeah.
But if he's not, I'll find him.
He might have already
But leave
shot.
it with me, but once you see me give you a thumbs up, cut to me and we'll get that bit done.
Yeah, not a problem, buddy. Okay, so... Sorry, just muted myself by mistake there. I don't know what I was doing. Joe, let's go through some replays first then. So what we got here, so this is Philpott chasing down Chambers. I think it's the bit behind that, isn't it? So let's have a look. So is this... There's Martin. So this is the one we need for if Martin's in there. But yeah, just completely lost it. Just got that little bit too wide and... It just couldn't get the cart to turn back round again and ended up in the barrier. Cost him dear, that one. Unfortunately for Martin Medlock there, he was driving so well, and just a small mistake from Thomas, who is your reigning champion at the end of the day, and Josh Nye. So what's this one here? So this is a little bit of contact between Martin and, is it Ricky Cahill? I think it was actually in the end. And then what we got here then, so as they coming through, we're just flicking through, I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so it's just rolling through, okay, not a problem. What we got here then, so a little bit bumping actually. Last overtake, okay, so that was Josh gets it back on the straight. Okay, so yeah, if we would just rewind that a second. Yeah, so it was there any contact made? Can we see from that? No, it doesn't look it. Doesn't look it from this angle. It looked like Josh just missed his braking a little bit, got a little bit wide, and Jonathan Elliott, just that little slide on the exit there might have cost him, but Josh managed to keep it going all the way to the line. Now, I believe PJ is ready with race winner Bradley Philpott. Well, it was an eventful for Bradley, obviously, with the belt change. PJ, let's see what he says.
Yeah, you're right. It was eventful for Bradley. He had to start that race twice, which was quite something to do. So take us for your first start. I think we do have it on replay. It's quite a good getaway, actually, from memory. It was a fair few laps ago, but we'll get that up on screen in just a second. I'm sure we got it numbered on the system. There we go. So
from my point of view, I actually nearly jumped the start because I'm not used to having an amber light and then a red and then no lights. But I managed to stop it just before. I just drove away. It's quite nice and easy from pole here. You just drive in a dead straight line and make sure you react at the right time.
Absolutely, and then obviously there is actually a video of you coming to a stop under the bridge. We'll watch that as well. Just,
okay.
You lived it, so you might as well live it again, I suppose. You can see there's 3 drivers that you've got your hands up in the air there. Look, as his belt's gone.
Just someone got my insight. Okay. I was trying to keep out of everyone's way at that point, but I had no drive, and I knew once I got to the corner I'd have to stop, so I did.
And to be fair, a lot of the drivers that come in behind you reacted quite well to that, and we did manage to replace your belt and get you back out onto circuit. And I think the last thing we want to watch is your second start, which is pretty much the same as the first one, but yeah, the one that mattered the most, I suppose. We've got that. I'm sure that's on the list there somewhere. It will be there ready in a second, Joe.
So from my point of view, I think the second start
it is coming in just a second.
The first, it just I'd remembered about the amber light that time, and just drove away again. In fact, my second race of that one race was all about trying to make sure I got the fastest lap and trying to get the point for that fastest lap, because once I saw I was clear from the guys behind and there wasn't any more risk of being passed or being caught, I started to take more risks myself to try and find that time to get the fastest lap, because as anyone who's been here will know, this track rewards you if you push really hard and get it right, but you'll lose a lot of time if you push really hard and slightly get it wrong. So if you've got a train of carts behind you all eager to pass, you can't afford to take those risks, and you have to be a bit more conservative. But once I was clear, I just pushed like crazy.
I don't actually remember your lap time from that race. I'm sure it's quite quick. And
it was 30.700, I think.
Lovely. Yeah, because the qualifying round, the second time round, everyone's one lap qualifier was roughly a second slower than they'd done earlier in the night. Roughly 1 second slower. Not so much for yourself, but I always find a kart before the belt goes is a kart that feels really good.
You know, I didn't feel a lot of difference. Once I got the kart back, I think I was pretty much down to similar lap times. And in the end, I think I ended up 1/10 or half a tenth off of the 80 kilo record. I was trying to get that, wanted to get down to like a 30.5, but couldn't quite do it.
You certainly, I did a 30.8 on Friday, so you beat me.
It was still pretty decent, but yeah, that's the luxury of being out front and
absolutely. Well, we're not going to wait around too much longer for that replay. So what I want to do is say thank you to Bradley. Are we seeing you next month?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've already paid my deposit, so I'll be
perfect. Well, handshake here. Excellent. Thank you, Bradley. Right, if I can get Mike in here, if you're available, mate. I have just lost my sound. So pick up this mic for me, mate. So obviously this is one of your first races with us, really, isn't it, in the league? Certainly this year. How was it for you as a newcomer?
It wasn't bad. I just need more practice.
What do you reckon to the talent that you have around you? Are you looking to continue on and improve more?
Oh, definitely. I want to carry on. The lads are really fast, really good competition, so we'll see, but definitely going to come back and going to try to push harder.
Excellent. So hopefully we'll see you. Reno will have the actual dates for us, so hopefully we'll be able to know exactly what times and dates those are. I'm sure we'll go across those at the end of the stream. But thank you for coming down.
No worries.
Hopefully you'll see you next month. No, it's a pleasure as always. And I've said on the live stream, I've seen you on driving a simulator, so I knew you'd be quite good. You didn't let me down. So hopefully next time we'll lop another half a second off.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and then you'll be beating Philpott by the end of the year.
I will try.
Try. Excellent. We can only try, can't we? Yeah. Well, I'm going to hand back to Reno in the commentary box. I've lost my audio, so if you are talking to me, I do apologise. But it is going back over to the commentary box, and yeah, we will be signing off very soon. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the commentary box in just a second.
Thank you very much, PJ. Yeah, so interesting comments there from Bradley and obviously Michael as well. I think it went quite well tonight, guys. I mean, the next round, if everyone's interested in that, is the 7th of April. So you can book your position online on the website, book your experience, adult league, pay deposit. You've got to select the time, the date though. It'll be on the 7th of April, once again starting at 5 p.m. It's been quite a long one today. There's been quite a few stoppages, so we do apologise about that. But we're there or thereabouts once more. Right, well, I'm just going to wait for PJ to come in, which he is. So PJ, the 7th of April is the next one.
Okay, so I was wrong with the 4th of April then?
Yeah, it's fine. I've said the 4th earlier,
It might be something really important that I've got booked in my calendar, which I should remember, which... you know.
Yeah, it probably just came out at the wrong time, but yeah, overall though, I think today's been fantastic. We had the juniors, the cadets, and now the adult series signed off on this. Superb.
Yeah, well, no, we did. It has been a really, really good day. So me and Reno are going to walk up to the camera, onto the camera, so you can see us. I'm just going to do my hair quickly.
Yeah.
Not that it matters. I've just been on camera anyway. But
well, mine's all a mess anyway, mate. I mean, it's as long as anything, so it's always an interesting one. But we've had such a good day here, PJ. I think yes, this last one was a bit long, but there was a lot of incidents. I think it went all right in the end. We did our best.
2 red flags in that adult series, so it does delay things a little bit. We always like to have a little bit of a break between going from one 30-lap race into the next one. So no, it's been really great, and I just want to say thank you to the guys in the box. I know if you watched Facebook earlier, you would have seen a little behind the scenes, but we have young Joe there on the replays, and that's worked really well. And obviously, massive thanks to Martin.
Yeah.
If you could see the amount of kit he provides and brings in,
and the time it takes to set it up as well. He really is the driving force behind this live stream, and once again, he's done a fantastic job.
I think he'd much prefer to do 2 30-lap races and 2 flying lap qualifiers and have to do what he does behind the camera, because I can tell you what, these guys out here have an easy time compared to what Martin
Very
puts
easy
up
time,
with.
yeah. I don't think they realise just how much effort Martin puts in. So thank you once again, Martin. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, PJ.
And thank you, Reno. And thank you to the marshals as well.
Massive thank you to marshals.
Most of them work really, really hard. I'll let them decide between them which ones don't.
Yeah, no, they all did really well tonight, and obviously working under pressure with fixing that cart late on as well. So
fantastic work.
Yeah, really good work from all of them today. Superb effort once again.
And a big thanks to the Race Club Diner, actually, who kept us fed and watered throughout the day. I had a fantastic pizza made by the Matt.
Superb effort, yeah. And thank you very much for Steve as well, who runs the joint whilst we're out here.
Yeah, so he's answering the phones and taking the door and everything else he has to do while this lot out here are running around and talking rubbish sometimes on the microphones. But no, thank you very much, guys, all for tuning in. We'll be back on the 7th of April for the same format again. So it'll be juniors, cadets and adults. No doubt we'll have a few new faces for next round. I know there's a few guys that have already placed their deposits, and there's a few that are at the reception at the moment with Steve placing their deposits again. So big thanks to everyone that showed up. I know Bradley came down here with a few of his friends. It was nice to have him here.
Cheers, Thomas.
Cheers, Thomas Krakowski.
Yeah, easy.
Our last year's champion waving us goodbye. So I can't say goodbye and thank you anymore, I don't think, other than saying goodbye and thank you a bit more.
Goodbye and thank you once more, I think.
Yeah, goodbye and thank you.